Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I'm Bobby, also known as Blazzinbob, and we're joined by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hi, I'm wonderful. I'm finally recovered, I think.
You look like you're reading something on your phone.
I am. I'm almost done.
Well, welcome to the show.
It's very important.
We also have Kippzo. Welcome back to the show, sir.
What's up?
Looking good with the beard, man. I wish I could grow a beard like that. Oh, so jealous. Just nothing on the sides, man. I could grow a stash, but I don't look good with a stash. But I can grow one. And first time on the show, we have Peach. How you doing, Peach?
Good.
So I think this is a first for Warcraft Reloaded. This is the first time that two couples are on the show, which is pretty cool. So we might have some couples, different conversations going on throughout, and like how it, playing with your significant other, just different things. So we'll be doing that.
Oh, it really tests your relationship, and we just want to give some advice here.
Well, yeah, so I'd like to start off the show by thanking our tank patrons in Croxford, Turtle Whale, and Braxton. We do the show live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Blazzinbob. That's BLAZZINBOB. If you'd like to join our Discord server or Patreon or any of our links, need to know how to get a hold of us, the easiest way is just go to warcraftreloaded.com. And that's it. And if you're getting a Rested XP guide, that is warcraftreloaded.com/RestedXP. What else? Okay, yeah. So we're going to start out talking about what we've been doing, leveling and like kind of playing with significant others. Then we're going to move on to the comment of the week. Then we're going to move on to voicemails, and that's actually going to be the discussion portion of the show for this week. So we'll be doing those out of order that we normally do, but we got like 7 voicemails, so they're all great things to talk about. And luckily, like there's like 2 hunter ones, and me and Kippzo both played a bunch of hunters, so that'll be good. And yeah. And then we're going to do the news after that. Oh, and reminder, if you want to leave a voicemail for next week or whatever, it's 816-866-1066 or speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. Either of those will work. And yeah, that's going to be the show. So, yeah, let's just jump into it. So we've met you on the show, Kippzo, but we have not met Peach. Let's get a little background on Peach. Like, when did you start playing WoW?
I started playing last year in February.
What brought you, like, WoW Classic or WoW?
WoW Classic. It's actually where I started. I never played like retail WoW ever before, so I started on Wrath of the Lich King.
That's so cool. Okay, so you start on Wrath. I know a lot of never played before people came in during the hardcore rush, but you actually came in during Wrath. So how did you even see it? Like, how did you even know it was a thing?
My boyfriend, he introduced me to it, and I just played with him at the time. Yeah.
Then you got rid of him, and we're still playing?
Yep. Yep.
So that's okay. So that's cool, because sometimes significant others, like, it's not just girls, but men will do the same thing. They'll play the game, that the other one wants to play, and then they're not really into it afterwards. They're not actually a gamer of that game. So it's pretty cool.
Well,
that
he
you
knew it
stuck
was a
with
bad idea when I got into it. It kind of consumed me.
She got addicted.
Yeah, I was the same way. When Bobby asked me to come back and play Classic, we had played original vanilla. And when he asked me to come back and play Classic, I was like, absolutely not. That destroyed my life once. What are you thinking?
I remember
And here I am.
when she first started playing. I remember it was the weirdest thing for me ever when she said, "I think I have aggro," because she had never heard the word before she met me, and I just expected her to play for a bit and not really care and just kind of blow it off. Just she wanted to hang out with me, but she's very competitive, and she started getting into it and learning the lingo, and she's starting to talk like a gamer. I'm like, "Who are you?" This was pretty funny. All right, cool. So wow, a brand new player. So how did you and Kippzo meet?
Well, he was streaming at like 7 a.m. one day.
Yeah,
And
it's basically through the YouTube.
I just tuned in.
Just tuned in. Wow. And
Very
then
nice.
you
Yeah.
started talking, huh?
Pretty much. I don't know if he wants to elaborate
That's
on
cool.
that. further.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kippzo.
Yeah, that was I guess what was it, like a few months ago, maybe like 3 or 4. I don't know how long it's been, but yeah, we started talking a lot. She was working night shifts, and so me streaming at 6 a.m. and my sleep was just messed up, so I was just streaming.
Yep.
I was just streaming. I think I was leveling my warrior in phase 2, and we just talked a lot, added each other, and then just
Well, I knew
kept
of your
talking.
stream because I was obsessed with your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I started playing a rogue in Season of Discovery.
So you
That's
were
how I
like,
found the stream.
And I'm just streaming to 0 viewers because my YouTube is doing pretty well, but my stream is still like, I'll just stream to 0 viewers for a while. They're totally different things. I really need to work on it, But yeah, if anybody comes in the chat, I just have a little conversation with them. And then we really got along. And she said that she was a girl. And, it just progressed naturally after
Sparked
that,
an
I
interest
guess.
immediately.
Yeah.
That's interesting. To go on the streaming versus content, it is really weird. You have to entice them to I don't ever hear you say that you stream live at the end of your videos. You might, but I don't hear it often.
I don't usually because I never really stream all that often, and my streams are kind of bad. Like they're not really that entertaining. But recently, I'm like, okay, if I want to, I clearly know what I'm doing with YouTube. If I want to get the ball rolling here, I'm going to need to grow a stream because it's basically the same thing. Like you're playing the game anyway, right? And so this month, I've been trying to just stream regularly, 4 or 5 days a week for just a couple hours. And I've done a pretty good job. I think I'm on day 22 of obviously I've missed days here and there, but yeah, I think I have a schedule now. So I'm going to try and promote it and, see where that goes. That'll be my next project. And then hopefully whenever the next season of WoW launches, I'll already have kind of an audience. So then, I can ride those waves and trends and blow up or something like that,
Yeah. I just tell people straight up, I might not see chat for a bit. Usually, somebody I'm hanging out with is like, Bob, someone's asked you something to chat. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to notice.
Well, it's just it's a total I chat with chat a ton during the daytime if I'm by myself, right? But then it's a weird mix between muting yourself when you're hanging out with friends to talk to chat, but then missing what your friends said, or there's all kinds of. And I'm not the best multitasker, so I just tell people I'm not a great streamer. But if you want to ask me a question about the show or something, pop in, and people usually pop in to save me and help me.
It's like a weird balance because if you stream by yourself, you can pay attention to chat. That's what most big streamers do. But then if you have 0 viewers and you're just by yourself, then it's boring. So then you want people, so then you hang out with your friends and your friends are on stream, and then the people come in the chat and they're like, who are these people? And then you type a message and stuff, and then you look over there and it's like, oh man, that was 2 minutes ago. Is that person still here? Kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember the best advice I ever got was Salve Daly on episode 6 of this show. We're at 215, but he was like, even if you have 0 viewers, just talk to yourself. Like, just have your inner dialogue going at all times, because if someone pops in and they just see you grunting and looking at the screen, they're probably just going to peace out. But if you're talking to yourself, you know, they might stick around to hear what you have to say. And so that was like the best advice I had ever heard, because well, you're not a new streamer, but new streamers will be like, oh, hey, you know, they'll talk to somebody in chat after somebody says something, but a lot of people just won't even type unless you type something they want to respond to, is what I've found. But I also am not the person for advice, but he gave me that advice, and he's a big streamer, so I thought it was good. But yeah, oh, sorry, you want to follow up?
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, that is good. I think the problem that I have now is I'm always playing with Peach, and so we just kind of, you know, I guess if you want to watch that, tune in. But yeah, I know I'm not the best streamer, so I don't really shove it in people's faces or anything.
Do you guys? Yeah, you have to find people that are cool with it, like Crispix and I can hang out. He'll talk to chat with me, but some people will be like, dude, come on, man. Like, you know, they don't want to be involved in that. Like, sometimes Mel is like, hey, I'll play, but don't stream tonight. Can we just do us, you know? And that's what we did. You know, we've done a few different times. That's what we did last night. So it's interesting. I wonder, Peach, do you ever just want him and not him streaming?
I just pay zero attention to the stream, and I kind of feel like he does too. So,
Well,
I
there's
just feel
usually
like,
nobody there, so
yeah, I feel like it doesn't make a difference. I don't even have it like pulled up, or I'm not watching the stream because I'm in it. So,
Yeah,
it doesn't make a difference if they are streaming or not.
nice. So you guys actually,
you guys haven't been together long enough to be like, listen, I'm gonna yell at you tonight because you're gonna frustrate me and you're gonna piss me off, and I don't want that documented on stream. You know,
Yeah,
like I
that's
get away with
fair.
a lot.
So do you guys live close to each other?
No.
I live in Florida. She lives in Texas. I used to live in Texas, but I moved back.
Well, y'all come back now, you hear?
Yeah, well, I mean, I might, because I can work remotely. So I mean, maybe. But yeah, she flew over here to visit me for a weekend a few weeks ago.
That's
Nice.
cool. That's cool. Was it awkward that first time? Like that first time hanging out in person, even though you'd known each other so well?
Maybe for like a few minutes, but
She was really. I went to pick her up at the airport, and she was really nervous. But I don't know why I wasn't nervous. I just like went there. We like hung out. I could tell that she was kind of nervous. So I just kind of played it cool for a while. And then after the conversation got going and stuff, I gave her a hug, and you know, it was kind of natural after that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's funny because you can really get to know people really well. I remember even just the first time we met, like all of our classic WoW buddies that we hang out with all the time, like met them in person. It was almost like I forgot that we hadn't met in person before because we'd like hung out so many times.
Yeah,
but it'd be different with a relationship, I feel like.
And I think it's different because like what I think back to is, you know, when you first like an online relationship or something where, you know, you are a phone relationship, somebody introduces you. I've had a couple of them, you know, back in the day before I was married, of course. But, you know, you talk to them on the phone, you talk to them through text, but then you actually all of your attention is on them when you're talking on the phone and stuff like that. And then meeting them was always kind of awkward. But then ever since I've been in content creation, like even when I was doing the Overwatch stuff, all the people that I had hung out with playing games, it was almost like a different, more real life type of deal because we were interacting in much more ways than talking. So yeah, it's just like Mel said, when we've run into these creators at different events, it's like you just hug right off the bat, you know, and it's actually crazy how comfortable you are. But yeah, I was just curious because a lot of people do meet their significant others through WoW or through gaming now, which is pretty freaking cool. So let's talk about what you guys are playing. So you're kind of a new player, Peach, and so you're probably taking a lot of direction from Kippzo, but because Does
She figures a lot out for herself. She's really good. Like for somebody who's been playing the amount that she has, like she's really good. She almost never like messes up. She doesn't have like the 20 years of game knowledge that I have, of course, but you know, she can definitely follow
WoW
along. A lot of the
classic
time,
knowledge, right? Not just
yeah, because
all games.
I played on private servers, so I you know, it's like getting a Nixia tuned is like, you know, I still have to look some stuff up because you don't have the whole game memorized. But
Yeah, exactly.
a lot of stuff
Pretty
like
close,
that.
though.
But we'll be going somewhere and like we'll just take turns AFKing. It's not like I have to lead the whole time, you know. If she knows what she's doing, she can definitely handle it. She tanks stuff. Sometimes she'll make groups. We used to do a ton of gnomers last phase because
Yep.
I have every class. I almost got every class to level 50 before the phase ended. I still had paladin to do.
Wow.
But yeah,
It is Paladin.
she was leveling characters on Crusader Strike because she played on Lone Wolf, and so she rerolled here to play with me. And so we would just do gnomers every 3 days, and then you know we couldn't find a group, and so we'd make the group, and then she would make some of the groups and stuff like that. And so yeah, she's definitely a lot better than you would think somebody who's like new to the game would be.
Mel does,
And I'm not
does
just saying that
too.
she's my girlfriend either.
Thanks for hyping me up.
Well, that's
Yeah.
probably that's probably why you're so into her. I mean, it's really neat to be able to, because we're living the dream, guys. We look at all these other guys, and they're looking at us like, I want your girlfriend. I mean, they just do. Like, I mean, they want one that's going to play and understand the game and really, you know, Mel teaches me stuff, you know. In the beginning, it wasn't so much like that, but, you know, as it's gone on, like she wants to know something and she's proved me wrong on stuff too, which just sucks, but at least I know the truth after that. And I'm not like, you know, telling people wrong info, but yeah. Well, that's cool. What do you guys normally do? Do you like to quest? Do you like to dungeon grind? Do you like to?
We've been dungeon grinding to 60. We did a whole bunch of BRDs. We kind of like to just join groups and make fun of people who are bad, I guess. And yeah, I don't level characters a lot because I have a ton of characters. So yeah, I don't know, just kind of whatever, hang out.
We both like leveling, so we do a lot of leveling.
Yeah.
Do you level questing or level like dungeon grinding?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Just depends.
Yeah. How
I
was
mean,
the
right now
BRD grind?
right now we're in the BRD, so. Well, it was my first time going through like the entire dungeon, so that was really cool. He showed me like everything there is to do in there.
Huge.
Yeah. It's huge.
It's really
Yeah, I'd
confusing.
only ever done like the first quarter of it, like before.
Yeah,
it's very
I didn't know
confusing
about
too.
the key quests and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Unlocking the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, you have to be dead to like accept the key quest. Although, did they change it to is it the way it is? We just died. We just died running in, so we just grabbed it dead. But remember, hardcore, they made a change. I wonder if that's in servers now where you can just pick that quest up without being dead.
No, you have to be dead.
You still do? Because in hardcore, you don't.
Okay, I was wondering how people did that in hardcore. I was like, do you just need a rogue for BRD, or do you need to blast the doors open or something with the profession stuff? But that's good.
Yeah, that was a change they made right at the start of hardcore. But I was curious. Some things leak through, you know, like to hardcore, from hardcore to here.
Yeah, I didn't play enough hardcore to really tell because my internet's pretty bad, and so I'd like get to level 25 and then just the power goes out or something. Yeah, and you're just like, well, there it goes, I guess, you know.
Start over.
Well, if you guys want to test your relationship, hardcore duos.
No, only hardcore duos if you have to delete your character. Because hardcore duos, when you don't have to delete your character, is very fun as the person who survives with the person who always dies. That was a lot of fun. Bobby, I think, had to catch back up to me like 4 times.
She's talking about me having a warrior and sacrificing myself for her to live every time that I died, too. I mean, also, though...
Sacrifice.
Also, though, most of the times... the shit we were in was my fault, but either way, I sacrificed so she could live, whereas both of us could have died. But
I was also just a priest, so I was probably going to live anyways.
oh man, it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Fine.
So
It was a
okay,
lot of fun.
yeah. What did you guys do for your launch here? What? So I know what you did to start out the first 2 hours of your launch, and boy,
Yeah, we did the best Sunken Temple
I was
ever.
gonna say you went with the wrong idiots group, man. I mean,
Yeah, who set that group up? Do we
Dude.
know?
So just for everybody who doesn't understand, all four of us were in my Sunken Temple run. I've been running it for 2 months straight with like three healers, like pumping.
Super easy.
I mean, we've just destroyed everything, but I did have a correct group every time, and this time around, I couldn't get a correct group. So I didn't have a hunter and I didn't have a mage, but I wanted to take people from the guild.
And our main tank
Hold on.
power went out, so he couldn't show up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oprah's power. Yeah. So we didn't have our normal shaman main tank, but I thought we're super geared. It's going to be fine. Like I could have pugged a hunter and I could have got a guild mage, but I wanted to get Audis in who had raided with us for like the past 6 weeks. I wanted to get in regulars. I also wanted to get in Simonize's full group so that they would be together when they got out. It was just, I tried to put this puzzle together and I failed miserably. And yeah. Also, when
I don't
we got
think
there,
it was just the group.
well, I found this out later too. I found this out later too. Half the people in our run did not unboon. And I mean, if you're not going to unboon, 3 healers isn't going to work. You know, like there's many strategies that aren't going to work if you're not world buffed, but people were saving their buffs, I guess, for dungeon grinding. So that was another problem I found out later, which kind of bummed me out.
It's kind of lame.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, you're coming to my run. I say, you know, I'm not your boss, of course, but I say unboon. Like, you're in my run, you should unboon, you know, but it didn't happen. So, yeah, the run went horrible. It was almost 2 hours long.
Just like one thing after another.
I mean, we had we had our good friend San Medina main tanking, but he wasn't on his bear, who he's kicked ass with like for months now on his bear, off taking, sometimes main tanking, but he brought his warrior. His warrior didn't even have 3 set. I mean, so you can imagine how much other gear he was missing. And then it was a shit show. And yeah, we wiped first on the second boss. Everybody got grabbed into the sludge and eaten. There was no, like, the range didn't stand on one side. I did not
wipe on that boss.
I did not figure I had to like tell people the strategies. But
I also think there was a little bit of a barrier where I think that the change in all the updates and people not updating their add-ons, and so some people's add-ons or their macros weren't working correctly, and people were in a rush. And like for me, like I was on a work call while we were starting, and like I was trying to like get things going, like trying to finish up work. And so I know there was a lot of different variables that had gone into it. We had totally different healers than we've ever had. I think it was me and one other healer, and then Lubes was like
swapped to
healing, but he was like off healing kind of because he's like not geared to be a healer. So it was like me and the other healer, and then Lubes kind of like half to a third of our healing, right? And you can't have that when you only have 3 healers. So we had to get another healer.
We ended up having a DPS shaman switch to just switch his healing runes. Like he didn't even have a spec. And he didn't have any healing gear, but he just switched his healing runes, and that got us through the rest of it. But it was bad, and I felt so bad that I just have to put my foot down in the future and just make sure the comps are right, because Blizzard's building it to where it's easy if the comp's right, and it's really hard if the comp's not right. So I'm just gonna have to be meaner. And
I mean, we made stupid mistakes too, though. Like regardless of comp, there was just a lot of stupid mistakes as well. Just not by anyone individually, but I think by a lot of people. And
it might be too soon, but I'm gonna call Sand out on this one just because it was too funny. We're on the last boss. Everybody's just like, all right, guys, seriously, we have no world buffs. We're all out of consumes. Please, nobody spread the blood. We explained it all. Sand knows exactly what to do. And me and Sand and one other person get the blood. We move to the other side. Then we move to in front of the boss. The boss does not dispel us, and Sand just runs right back in and splits blood to the the entire melee stack. It was so funny.
I literally thought there was like 4 or 5 people that were going to lose it at that point. People in such a long Sunken Temple. I was like, oh my god, this is going to implode. Like people are going to freaking riot.
Well, we had
some good moments, like whenever he ran into Ranicus and literally got one shot. that was so funny.
It's like, did you not?
It's like, what just happened?
Oh man, it's so good.
Oh my god! Then so we went through the 2-hour Sunken Temple with you guys. Then Bob's big brain over here decides to make us a dungeon group with 3 rogues, a shaman, and me as a priest. Okay.
And I vastly over.
You know how that went.
I overestimated what 3 rogues with dunes was gonna do on trash, because our shaman was with us. And he's just doing 3 to 4 times the damage we are.
Crippling their damage.
On every trash mob. And not on bosses, but bosses don't matter when you're freaking dungeon grinding to level, you know, like
it's 90% trash.
The trash packs matter. And he's just like 3 to 4
like, is there
times
any other
more damage.
DPS? You're looking at the DPS meter and it's just like this big blue bar. And then like these itty bitty little yellow bars over here. It's like, is anybody else doing damage? What's happening here?
And then we also made the mistake of trying to do all the quests first. We were like, oh, we'll just do all the quests first, and then we'll just grind the mobs. But the quests were taking us to kill like level 57 bosses. We got them down, but we wasted a ton of time. We died here and there because we tried to do them. We did it all wrong, and it was just kind of a mess for us. And then I was depressed because I was just like, well, I made a group of 3 rogues. Like, you guys would be better off just splitting off. Like, this is horrible. So we had to just give it up that night. But how did your guys, your guys' experience go
your
after?
Sunken Temple debacle.
Yeah.
Well, I had no plans. I was just gonna mess around, and so we were like, we could quest, or like I don't know. It seemed like everybody was just grinding BRD, so we threw together a group. And
did you have 3 rogues?
No, we got like a pretty good comp. We had an in-hand shaman who was like crazy. He was really good.
You remember that one group we had? It was literally perfect.
Yeah. The one with Zanzan as the
Zanzan
tank.
and Mystic.
Yeah. And so that was pretty dope. I wasn't doing anything as a rogue. And so like we took like a 15-minute break.
Imagine 3 of them.
I was like, oh, they found Fan of Knives. I'm gonna go get Fan of Knives real quick. It's in Winter Spring. I'll just go get it real quick. I think I can get this real quick. So I go get Fan of Knives. Peach summons me back, and I'm still just not doing anything. So we're trying to get a random mage as the last DPS. Yeah,
it sucks so bad. I went and did the same thing.
She basically just carried us with Shadowbolt Volley. She would like, dude, she annihilates with Shadowbolt Volley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we just kind of did that until they found Crimson Tempest, and then I went and got that, and now I can kind of do something, but still, she hard carries with the Shadowbolt Volley. And yesterday we did another Sunken Temple because it reset, and we were like level 56, I think, and it's just every boss I was top DPS on my crappy Orc Rogue that's in like full Nomergon gear, and then every trash pack she's top DPS with her Shadowbolt Volley, so... it was just some random like guild run, but it was fun.
Don't mention my boss DPS though.
Yeah,
that was awful.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, well, that was probably the only reason we were able to take the big bosses down is because we had the 3 rogues, but that was worthless. Like, we shouldn't even have done those quests. We should have just did our arena and grinded all of those guys in the middle room and then reset. But
Yeah,
Did you
that's
guys,
all right.
did you guys run into the reset bug where you guys got sent back to your hearth?
No.
Because they got rid of all of the
You can't reset anymore.
logout skips, but when you reset a dungeon, say you add a person who's outside of the dungeon, everybody logs out, that person outside resets the dungeon, then drops group. If you guys log in, boom, you're back to your hearth.
No, we never tried to do that. We just went outside, and I don't know. It's nice having a warlock around because you can just, summon people.
That is
in
true.
The drop of a hat.
It is really
It's
nice.
also nice that anybody can use the warlock closets because
yeah, that was
we
definitely a
just
good
wait
addition.
around outside and we're like, somebody's got to drop one, right?
Yeah, people would like pay her to drop one, and I'd be like, "How much are they paying you?" And she'd be like 2 gold, and I'm like, "Dude, try and get like 10 gold. Come on,
Yeah,
it's really good."
Come on.
I mean, when I need to drop the closet anyways for the rest of
Right.
my
Yeah.
group, it kind of
True.
I
You're
can get at
like,
least a
I need
couple
to
gold
drop a
out of it.
closet. Does anybody need a closet? 5 gold. I can drop it for you.
So you guys were just doing the arena runs and clearing out the trash and resetting. You guys were doing it the smart way, huh?
We were
We
doing
mostly did that, but we did a couple full clears for the quest.
Yeah, and I wanted to, if I could convince random people to help me kill Emperor, I took that every opportunity that I could, and I think we did that twice or 3 times. And last night I got a hand of justice, so that's
Nice.
super crazy awesome.
Yeah. We tried to kill Emperor twice, I think. And with 3 rogues and a priest and a shaman, it just really wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, it was pretty rough a few times. We wiped on Magnus because like the tank just runs into the middle of the room and he doesn't know the flamethrower thing. Like
Remember the healer was just getting cooked by the flame. It wasn't moving.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like I'll tell Peach something that she's never done before. I'm like, oh, this is how you usually do it, or like this is how we did it on private servers, and you could pug it, and random people would know. Like usually you pull Magnus back to the door or like to the very end of the hallway, and then like we would get like 2 or 3 tanks who like they would say like, oh, I know the whole dungeon or something like that, and then they would make rookie mistakes like that, and I'm like, you wouldn't even make these mistakes, even though she hasn't been playing all that much, but. Lots of people have been playing forever and they just don't remember or something like that. I don't know.
People just lie.
Well, they've also never had like somebody close to them like telling them like how to do things though too, right? Like maybe they have. I mean, a lot of them have probably seen like how to do it. But like they also like you're able to tell her things that she may not know and she picks it up quickly. But if you weren't telling her that, like she wouldn't know that it was wrong that they didn't pull him out, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
And, like this guy didn't know where the arena was, and I was like, "Come on!" Like he's like level 54.
Right, well,
like,
that's we had
to tell him
one
where
of
it
the
was.
easier ones. Well, and
I even know where the arena is, and I'm very bad at knowing where things are.
When we went to kill Emperor, we tried it twice with our shabby tank, and it just didn't go. It didn't go well. I was trying to teach him how to kite him, where you like run up the stairs and then drop down, and then gives us time to like kind of beat on him. But it doesn't really work with all melee. So I thought, well, okay, I'll tank it. I was level 54, and didn't think about it. He's level 59, so. He's going to crush me constantly, right? But also on top of that, I don't know if it's Iron Foe or if it's Thrash, but I couldn't make sense of it. I died in 0.1 seconds when I tried to tank him. He hit me 4 times immediately, all at once, with crushing blows. I don't know if that's Iron Foe with Thrash or what. Like, I don't know. Because I thought
like,
Thrash was only 3 times, but...
We thought it was so promising too. We were like, oh, okay, well the rogue, we saw a rogue tank it like on somebody's stream and they were like, yeah, rogue, maybe the avoidance and stuff, like maybe this will work better. And Bob runs in and literally just like falls to the ground. And we were like, all right, nope, that's not that wasn't the
answer. Combat log, there were 4 melee attacks that were crushing blows instantly, all at one time, all for about, was it like 950, about somewhere around there, 4 of them. Just bam.
Yeah, that'll do
It was
it.
bad.
Yeah.
So what level are you guys now? What'd you get up to so far?
She's
Are you 60?
58 and I'm 59 and like 3 bars. But we're in no rush. We're whenever you get to level like 55, you just start doing the stuff that you were going to do at 60 anyway, but you just get XP for it, or at least that's usually my plan. So like if I have to farm, like we should do a Lobers for Ani attunement, and then I'll ding in there, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Actually, we need to do that, Mel. We need to. I don't even know how to do it on Horde side. We need to find out. We need to get that quest.
You get it from the guy in the watchtower in Kargath, to kill all the bosses and get the war documents from Lobers. That's like the first one.
And then for the Uber's
Everybody
key, do you have to
calls
have
that
the
something
quest?
different.
What?
I've always called it Elbers.
Yeah, we call it Elbers. Some people
Elbers,
call it
Ubers,
Lobers.
Ubers.
Some people call it
It's just so
Lower
funny to me.
Blackrock Spire.
Yeah.
Nobody calls it Lower Blackrock Spire. Nobody does that. That's way too long.
Low BRS.
Well, so yeah. Did you guys do any questing? I mean, what are you guys at now? Actually, because we're not
It
even
just
level
says 58 and
60.
59.
Damn. So okay.
Yeah,
so
we
when did you
did,
leave BRD?
Well, we did a BRD. Whenever we got to like level 54, I was like, we should do the quests instead of just grinding this because we're killing these bosses anyway for the Undermine reels. And so we went and did all the quests. Well, not all the quests. We didn't do the Searing Gorge one with the Black Dragons that ends with killing Baelgar because that one's just annoying. It's like a 16-part chain. But probably the hardest part of that is like doing the Rise of the Machines pre-quest in Burning Steps because you have to get like 10 of those things from the War Golems, and there were just people everywhere, even though there's like 11 layers. But yeah, we did all those quests and just did another BRD and just kept getting XP. The Sunken Temple got us like a lot of XP, and since I was on a fresh rogue, doing the rainbow trinket gets you 3 student fodder.
Yep.
And then doing the sleeping bag quests, I got like 8, so I just kind of skyrocketed. That's why I'm a level above her. Whereas we did the sleeping bag with her whenever she was like level 40 or something. But yeah, all my characters, I kind of skipped it because I was just too lazy and I didn't have a mount. So now I'm doing it, and I'm going to use it on those last like 4 or 5 levels. It's tricky though because it has a 30-minute cooldown. So you don't really want to save it for
too late.
Yeah, lots of people will save it for level 59, and then they'll use 2 of them, and they'll have 6 left, and it's like, bro, you're just, start chugging them at like level 54, 55, or something like that, because the 30-minute cooldown is what gets you.
Yeah, my warrior ran out of time the last time I was leveling. Not this time around, but I was like, oh, shit, I should have started chugging these a lot earlier, because you'd be surprised, at that, like, you'll just do the math wrong and just run completely out of time. Like Mel and I are probably like, we're like 57. Like we're going to probably need to start taking some of ours because, it's just going to creep up on you. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do what strategy did you use for the rainbow generator?
I'd never done it before, but she'd done it on Lone Wolf a bunch of times, and so I just listened to her, but we messed it up the first time because you can only have 2 people down there. And so with the Warlock, it's kind of easy because you can like summon the people after they go down, or you can take the door to Incendius, but we just kind of like sent 2 people each time to go do
3.
it.
We did it with 3.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
I don't know.
But any more than that was rough. But if anybody dies, it turns it off. Like if anybody in the group that's in the dungeon dies, he's gone. Is what we found. And it could be that it's like it changes. It could be like sometimes it's 2 people, sometimes it's 3. I have no idea, but it was definitely wonky. We found a way to go. You go like you're going to Anger Forge, or is that his name? Yeah, Anger Forge.
Mm-hmm.
Like where you have to use the key to use the wheel thing that opens up the bridge. Well, we didn't open up the bridge, but we just went that way, jumped out the window, lost aggro. Then you walk around, you get to the top of the bridge. Then you sprint and slow fall. So you can either use, you don't even have to sprint. You can use Noggin Fogger. You can use the parachute cape. You can use, Mel used her floating priest thing. Yeah, and you just go right to it. And so you can do it solo or duo, which just makes it takes everybody else out of the equation. So
oh yeah, I guess you could just go in there and do that. If you had a Shadowforge key, you could do that without killing any mobs. Or I mean, if you're a rogue, you can stealth
you
there
don't
anyway,
even
but...
yeah, you don't even need the Shadowforge key because you jump out the window right before the bridge across. That the Shadowforge opens.
To pick lock though, or a key.
Yeah, to open the two gates.
To open the two gates, yeah. You do have to have that, or you would have to do an arena run first.
But yeah, no, we just went to the bridge close to it, and then just walked down and plopped, and we got it for a whole bunch of pugs and stuff.
Nice. So yeah, have you done any questing in the open world?
Not really. I don't know. We kind of just like to pug stuff and make fun of the people in the pugs and see how the group goes and stuff. We did that with Nomer so much last phase. I have 4 World Warper trinkets, just from doing Nomers because I hated incursions. So I just did Nomers to level up all my characters. And you get all the wacky trinkets and stuff. So yeah, it's just fun. I don't know. We just like to pug stuff, which is kind of hard because we're double DPS, right? So, but whenever we do get in the group, we don't have to worry about the DPS because we tear through everything.
We'll carry it.
Yeah.
Just have to worry.
There's pros and cons. It's definitely harder to get in, but once you get in, you're pretty set.
You know the group is going to be good as long as the tank holds aggro and the healer isn't AFK.
I was just about to say the tank. There's so many bad tanks in SOD. So many bad tanks. And lots of it isn't even their fault. It's just there's not a lot of information everywhere easy for them to rogue taking. There's not information out there for that. There's not even a guide from Simonize. I mean, it's there's all kinds of DPS stuff out there, but the rogue tank, druid tank, I don't see any content about that. So there's a lot of tanks that just don't. They know what they know, but
yeah, even the Enhance Shaman, which you think is a super solid, easy to play tank, they just mixed it up so now they're spell power based instead of attack power based this phase.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all their stuff is going to be spell power, and they get spell power for their excess defense that goes over the cap. And I think they added spell power scaling. I didn't really know or care about it, but my buddy Krypton, who's the shaman guy, is really into it. He doesn't make content, but he looks into it, and then I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. So
interesting.
It is cool. Yeah, so we've after that BRD night, we've just been questing, and it's been slow at different times, and it's weird because we've done a bunch of different quests, and our rested XP doesn't link up as well as we thought it would. So I ended up doing a ton of quests. Me and Chris Mix did a ton of quests while Mel was like, well, I already did these quests with Bob's Hunter before in Ungoro, but we did those, so it's been very weird. And then
listen, for a night and a half, we did those quests, and each time, so the first night I was like, oh, I'm almost caught up to you guys. And they were like, okay, yeah, we're done. I'm so done. And I'm like, are you serious right now? I haven't done any quests. And then last night I was like, okay, finally I'm on this quest. And then it was one quest. And then there was another 15 that they had to do that I had already done. And I was like, God damn it. And so we did those. And then we finally went to Winter Spring. And then Bob was like, I don't know. These quests suck. Can we go somewhere else? And I was like, get the fuck out of here. These are finally quests that I get to do. You will follow me and do these quests right now.
See, and
enough is enough.
I was down to do some of them, but we're going to talk about it here in a second. But the quest to unlock the new dungeon I'm not going to spoil it for later on in the news section, but it's in Winter Spring, and people are killing the wrong owl beast to have the best chance of getting the drop. They're killing all the lower ones that you need for the quest, but the drop rate is super high. As far as what we've seen and what a lot of different creators have said and everything, the drop rate's way better at the Northeast, the highest level owl beast.
Yeah, what is that place called? The Hidden Grove with that little tree in the cave. I love that place, but it's very secluded. There's not that much reasons to go there in regular vanilla.
Yeah, well, but everybody's killing all the lower level ones that barely have a chance to drop it. But those are the ones for the quest, and you need 15 and 10. I was like, we shouldn't do this quest because people don't know yet, so they're trying to kill every owl beast in the world, and they share spawn with this stuff, so we're gonna have to kill this stuff. Like, we should just leave here. So that's where I was at. Winter Spring's a little bit of a mess at the moment, so I was just like, we should just go to. But I turned out to be right, because today we've been doing we've been doing Western Plaguelands, and it's been wonderful. And it's crazy because there's ally everywhere, but we haven't had anybody open up on us, and we haven't opened up on anybody else. Well, I've hit a lot of people with my dudes
too, though. Like, you were complaining that we weren't going quick enough, but you and Jason literally tried to murder every single alliance that we saw every time. And I'm like, so it takes us 25 minutes to get to 300 yards, then it would take us 30 seconds. But it's fine.
Hey,
do you?
Okay, I wasn't attacking people that weren't on my kill on sight list. If they're on my kill on sight list on my add-on, then I know that they were a dick at one point. So, gotta kill them.
Well, yeah, you might as well be a dick in response. Got it.
Yep, 2 wrongs make a right.
Yeah, I hate it whenever somebody like initiates combat with you in some crazy stupid way. Like some shaman flame shocks me whenever me and Peach are right there, and we're like, all right, we'll kill this idiot. And then we kill him. And then there's alliance nearby, and they're like, oh my God, they just ganked that guy. And then like 16 alliance show up. They call in the Avengers, and we're just dead. And then it's like, okay.
That's what's happened with my dude's deck. Like, it just hits everybody. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, your shit's hitting me too. We're good.
Yeah, it's like my freaking homunculi. They
go those are the worst.
Crazy over there. Like, we were in Western Plaguelands today, and they were just literally like, you know how condensed those freaking like ghouls and skeleton area is, right? I'd like pop them, and then they'd be like, phew! And I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? Why are you going 300 feet the other way to attack somebody? I hate you. But they're so wonderful too at the same time.
Yeah. They do a lot of shit.
I would say I wish they have a pet bar, but Shadow Priest already have 2 other pets now. They have the eyeball thing and the Shadow Fiend, so there's no way that they would have a pet bar, I guess.
What's this eyeball
I just wish I could tell how much health they had, though. Like, I can't even tell if they're dead, because lots of times they're stacked up, like pixel stacked on each other too. So I'm like, do I still have all 3 of them? I could look at the debuff. I know, guys, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah, there's a weak aura that shows it. Like whether they're all alive or not.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I don't usually use them in raids and stuff, so I feel like most of the time I only get weak auras when I need them for a raid. But
yeah, I need a weak aura to let me know when my what's it called, procs? Muse of the Backstab spec.
Oh, the ambush thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need a weak aura to show me that, because I don't ever see it, and I'm usually spamming, so I'm out of energy, so I don't even see that it's lit up on the bar that I could use it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I need like a weak aura to let me know, oh, okay, wait, so I can do my ambush instead.
I'm sure there is one. I mean, like, I have weak auras for different cooldown spells that'll show me.
All right, well, let's move on to the comment of the week. Mel, do you want to read it?
Oh, sure. It's about Parsing, my favorite thing in the world. I'm a healer, so I don't care about parses, but it's from Red Favre Pally, 9311. Yep.
Yep, that's what I would have read it as too.
It says hot take, boss parsing lame, complete raid parsing with trash bis.
Oh, I wonder if it's Brett Favre. It's Rhett Favre Pally.
Obviously not a rogue.
All right, so hot take, boss parsing lame, complete raid parsing with trash bits. I could see this as I mean, but then you're just gonna have people really mad at everybody else. I mean, that would be something for like a speedrun group, right? I mean, speedrun groups do look at the entire raid parse, right?
I just think different people have different strengths, and so I think it'd be unfair. I guess it's not unfair because every rogue would be the same. Like you could still parse, right?
I would be against that kind of thing because it encourages extremely degenerate waiting for cooldowns. Because people have done that before just to cheese the overall wait rankings, where you wait 5 minutes in between every single trash pack and you raid over 8 hours just to have
they literally
the most
log
ridiculous
out.
Trash logs. Yeah. And there isn't really like a super good way around that. And also you would just, you could leave the raid and then respec. Well, I guess you wouldn't have to do this on SOD, but you could have one spec for just clearing trash and then another completely different spec for killing the bosses, or even a different raid comp. So there would need to be some kind of time limit, and then that's, where speedrunning comes in, I guess. But it's a cool idea because then the bosses aren't as necessary, but I prefer like dynamic bosses that aren't always, because if all the bosses are single target and you're not a single target class, it feels really bad. But if, there's that one fight there's a whole bunch of ads, then you can really care about that fight and really parse on that fight.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. One thing I would love is if a rogue has 95% uptime on a boss with armor pen, that he gets put to an armor pen rogue DPS category, right? And then like say with a lock, if the lock has one curse up, 95% of the boss time, the uptime, then they're going to be in you were a curse of wreck lock. You're going to get ranked with the other curse of wreck locks. Like, I think like if you're ever, it'd get a little hairy for like battle reses and stuff, but they could maybe give you a boost if you battle res somebody in the middle. Like they just give you a percentage of your damage through that. In the parse, you don't see it as damage, right? But the parse would be higher because it would be like, I don't know, it'd take a lot of work, but that would be, I think, the best way. But you were talking about parsing with Josh Corbett on Countdown to Classic last week. Also, great guest spot. You were awesome.
Thanks. I jumped in there because of Kef. Kef whispered me.
Nice.
And said that they needed a hunter guy, and I was like, well, I play a little bit hunter. I'll see if he needs. And he was really excited to have me on.
Yeah, Josh. But, Josh has got. Yeah, he speaks well, doesn't he? He's.
Yeah, I like his accent.
Well, it's not just the accent. He's very. Yeah, I aspire to be as good of a host as him. But sorry, you were saying.
Oh, I was saying, a lot of people have a lot of ideas on parsing, but it doesn't really. I guess there's there's a lot of different ways to look at it, because most people think parsing is like, oh, all the ranks are equal. You get like 1 through 99, but the difference between like a 99 and a 100 is way more than any of the other ranks at all. Like that's not really whenever you join a run and you say, I'm parsing this run. I guess for the average player, that means I'm trying to get like a 99 or like an orange parse. But for like, if you're in like a really like focused group, that means, of course we're getting 99s. I need to do something so dynamic and weird that I get more damage just by like, I need 100% crit RNG on this boss. Like this needs to be like world breaking kind of, it doesn't mean like, oh, I'm not going to play bad. It means like, I'm going to do like you're PIing the warrior or something like that, like some kind of insanely crazy thing. And whenever both of those things are kind of joined together, it's kind of a weird conversation. I think a lot of people take parsing as like, like a ladder from like other games like Valorant or something, like your bronze or your gold or something like that, and they think parsing is kind of the same way, but it really isn't. You can be in an amazing run and literally just smash one button, and you'll be like I guess the equivalent of like a master tier player in other games, and you're really just you don't know. But I guess being able to get in that run is kind of a skill by itself.
Exactly.
So,
well, and something that nobody brought up on that pod that kind of bugged me, because I wished I could have just like jumped in. You know how everybody who listens to this pod wants to jump in and be like, Bobby, you're an idiot because of this. I wasn't thinking that specifically, but I was just trying to give an example. But I was sitting there going, somebody mentioned, because Josh was saying that he doesn't parse, he doesn't parse high. And, he was saying that it was because he wasn't good. But I could point out, like, I could parse crazy high with a really good group of everybody, of all players better than me. But also on top of that, the big thing that I really wanted to push through that a lot of people don't get, because you guys were talking about mechanics, and this player, you mentioned if they could have a tag that comes up selfish, right?
or like team player or something, if you take the time to go CC ads or something like that.
But that's what parsing guilds do. They're like, these guys don't parse 99s every week. These guys are looking for 1 or 2 99s, maybe 100, and then they're taking turns parsing. So like if there's 2 rogues, this is this rogue's week to try to parse. This is this rogue's week to try to parse. They're basically trying to get like 5. If we're talking 20 man, they're trying to get 5. I would say 5 to 8 really good parses, and then everybody else is making that happen, and that's what a lot of people don't get. They think that these really good guilds, everybody parses 99s, and there are some guilds that do that early on in the phase, but later on in the phase they don't do that, because there's these crazy parse guilds that log out for cooldowns and everything else, and they're there just to trade off parses week by week. Would you agree with that?
I don't think so.
You don't think?
On Wrath, you're just always getting a 99. As long as you don't AFK or something like that, you're getting a 90. On my rogue, it would be very, very rare to not 99 every single fight, unless you die or something weird happens. And you usually
even if your armor pending?
Yeah.
But where you do in combat? Wait, and what phase are we talking about Wrath? Because it kind of varies too there.
Throughout the whole thing, and there isn't really taking turns. There's sometimes I was in Bleach because I got to play Rogue in Bleach because I was combat and I provided the Savage Combat debuff, and if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have been in the raid because I wasn't good enough. That's just how it is. The other 2 rogues, Zoppy and Gone Cold, were way better than me. Zoppy rerolled from Benediction, and those guys, Gone Cold literally got rank 1 parses while exposing.
Damn, that's
whereas
sick.
Yeah, he's a beast.
And Wrath is big about. A lot of people don't understand the top parsers, and you don't see this in any guides. You're literally resetting trinkets at certain times prior to the boss fight starting, because you want your trinkets proc immediately in Wrath, most of them, and you want your trinkets to proc right when all your other shit's going. So if you know the timing, you're resetting your trinket so it's on cooldown, so that you know that it's going to proc at the right time. And a ton of people just don't even know that that's a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's tons of stuff like that where your guild will catch you up if they need you to, but in that guild, if you're willing to just show up and play Moonkin, you probably just never get a turn to parse unless if they really like you and the hierarchy kind of switches around or something like that. But overall, there's especially in TBC, there's people who, this is a carry player, he's going to reroll whatever flavor of the month thing, and then just try to literally Well, a lot of Bleach was we just tried to beat Alondo because
I was going to mention him.
they-
He's
they
always
were
the one
just
that
the-
gets all the cooldowns. But
Yeah,
he's still an
well-
amazing player. Don't get me wrong. Like if you at home as a warrior got those same like benefits, you would not look as good. But it's the only way he's putting up these huge parses, though, too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, he deserves it. Like if I have a PI and Alondo's on his mage or something, I'm not even thinking twice. I'm giving it to Alondo. And he doesn't have as big of an ego about it as he could. But kind of the whole point of Bleach was to copy bipolar strategy and try and steal rank ones from Alondo for Taco, which we did in Sunwell. Taco got rank 1 on a warrior named Puppy Kiss. But it was kind of a meme. It wasn't really. It was like everybody banding together, which
To get one person to parse to beat this other guy.
exactly. But we still kind of did it because it was like the thing that we did, and a lot of other people got some pretty high ranks. But
well, I mean that was my whole point, though, is that these parse guilds are pushed towards boosting up certain players.
yeah, like if I don't like that person in my raid, it's just not really going to work because the only point of me being there is for them. Like if I didn't provide savage combat to them, I would not show up because the whole point is we're collectively trying to abuse the system and make this person deal way more damage than is actually possible. And yeah, that
Which is why I just give up on parses, right? Like
Yeah.
use your parse. If you're in the same guild, you're running week by week, you can easily track your progress personally, and that's probably what you should be sticking to, unless you're willing to play this game full-time job.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everybody should try to be better and like push themselves, but whenever you realize whenever I got to like the 99.8 or 99.9%, and I'm like, if I want to push myself and like make my own guild and like really set things up for myself and like go that extra mile and make sure that I'm getting full bis, I just don't want to do
two
this.
full-time jobs. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I just don't want to do this. And so like I'm bad compared to those guys who are going that extra mile. Like I'm bad. If they show up, I'll support them. If there's 2 rogues and one of them, like even last phase, whenever I was in exhausted, the other rogues had double Darkmoon cards, and I'm like, I don't want to farm 6,000 gold. Like hello.
I know. I just 2 weeks before the phase ended, got my Dunes deck, and I was like, maybe I should have just got a Decay deck. Damn it!
But yeah,
But
I showed up
both.
anyway, and I imp exposed for that raid, and then I beat people who weren't exposing, and then very quickly I didn't have to expose anymore because it didn't make sense for me to, and so those people were my supports, and so it's a very clear like hierarchy kind of thing. Like this person's better than me at least right now, the way that things are perceived. So I'm just going to do this, and then if you want things to change up, you kind of just change guilds, or usually people quit.
Yeah.
They get really burnt out, and so if you just keep doing that long enough, you'll be on top eventually.
You're never going to talk somebody into believing that you're better if you're always the exposed bot. You have to really like show that you're a lot better to beat them at that point, right? So yeah, changing guilds might be the thing. Like
Yeah, or like I try and just show up and play consistently, like because I've gone to your raids. I never miss a raid. I show up and I try not to do anything insanely stupid. I try to just show up, do a bunch of damage, not say anything, and then other people will make
And they're
fools of
usually not
themselves.
as bad
yeah,
as they were.
I mean, but I try to get you to say stuff because I want your thoughts, and you don't usually want to do that, but if I ask, or if we're really like struggling, you'll point out, well, hey, this is
if it's like super needed, but I don't like being an asshole and like being like, hey, you're wrong over there. Like I like to just watch people do whatever they're gonna do, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's what me and Peach do. We like join raids together, and we're just like, look at this guy. He really thinks he's got it all going on whenever he has no idea. Like,
well, and you talked about making your own guild and stuff. So I run my own raid, right? But guys, if you want to do that to just always have your best chances of parsing, you're gonna have to be a completely selfish person. Because even with me, like Kef, so I didn't always make the second melee group perfect, but there was always one pumper melee group all through phase 3. So Kef really wanted to try. So what I would do is just be like, all right, well, whatever boss you need to parse on, just like swap us. I'll give you a assist. Just swap us out, boss by boss. Just try to make sure we both get the same amount of bosses. And like if I was a selfish raid lead, I would have been like, sorry, dude, like this is my raid. This is my spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did all the work to do this. I'm going to take the benefits of it, which so many raid leads do, but I just can't seem to do it. Like I just can't do it. I want everybody to have fun, and I feel that we should trade off, So plus Kef is probably better than me.
So wait, you guys
he should
played
probably be in the main group, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm gonna switch gears for a second. You guys played Wrath. Did you guys go on to Kata?
No. I think we both played a little tiny bit. I got to level 84, but I was trying to push myself because I have every class leveled up on Wrath to skip the Ulduar trash on, which I had to level engineering 14 times. But yeah, so I had every class ready. So I was like, I'll level every class 80 to 85 and make a guide on how I liked to do it or things that I found.
And your guide would have just been, you watch this cutscene, you watch this cutscene, you watch this cutscene. This one might be bugged. You might be staring at the sky for this cutscene, but then there's this next cutscene. There's next cutscene.
Especially in Uldum, man. In Uldum, the
was
Harrison
horrible.
Jones thing, every single quest, you complete it, and then it just kidnaps your character, and you got to take your hands off the keyboard, and you're like, what am I doing? And it's unskippable.
We couldn't even get
transport you back.
We couldn't even get the storyline because ours was bugged. There was no sound.
Yeah, it's
so
also
we're just watching this
buggy.
like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible.
Yeah, my guild disbanded the last week of Wrath, and so I would have to find a new guild, basically. Also, Rested XP is really, really bad on Kata. You have to buy a 1 to 85 guide. There's no 80 to 85 guides, which is $35. And the instructions, they very frequently tell you to talk to an NPC that doesn't exist yet because you're on the wrong phase. It's pretty clear that Tactics does a lot of the writing for Rested XP, and he doesn't play Kata at all. And he did the other expansions, and it's night and day. Like I was like, I couldn't feel bad recommending it in my guides, which it's stupid not to, because it's free money. Sure. It's not that much money, but yeah.
I mean, it's if a lot of people get it, it's pretty good money. But I've been a huge fan of Rested, and I'm glad you kind of brought that up because I've been a little upset with them here through the SOD Phase 4 update. I know that the client changed, so that's probably what broke everything, but the beauty of Rested XP was it would see that you're not on a quest, take it off of your list, or see that you can't get that quest because of a prereq. That shit doesn't work now. Like, it doesn't work.
Like, works like 25% of the time.
Yeah, but not enough.
That too.
We've went to go do quests that we don't have in our quest log, and it's just wasted so much time. And I'm really upset with Rested XP at the moment because I've shielded for them for so long, and I am not a salesman. I can sell something that I love. I could do that. I could do that all day. I could not sell something that I don't love. And right now, Rested XP has me kind of pissed off. I'm just going to be honest.
Same. I was really disappointed with the Kata guide, and I was like, well, maybe I'll try out Zygor's. And Zygor's is like a monthly subscription. And I was like, what? And they don't have a referral code system. You need like a sponsorship. And I was like, what, dude? Like, this is just lame. I don't want to.
It's a lot.
Yeah, even if I work through all the buggy clients, like, I like the new abilities. I want to play the game. But a Kata private server is much more enticing, so I'll just wait until one of those is popular, I guess, after Kata. Because I remember people saying like that they would quit for Kata, and I was trying to talk them into it. I was like, no, Kata's going to be awesome. There's never going to be Kata Classic again, so if you don't play it right now, you're missing out. Like
I tried hard, man. We rated even we even got to raid a 10-man twice normals.
Yeah.
And the raids were fun.
I think we would have kept going. Yeah, they were fun. I think we would have kept going.
If Sod wasn't here, we'd probably be playing it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too.
But we'd be playing we'd just be raid logging, and we'd probably be playing hardcore, on the majority of the time we played. But we would be playing because the raids are fun and the rotations are fun, but the game itself is just not there. You don't have the world, and I want to live in a world that's alive, and that's where it loses me. But we should probably get past this. Thank you for your comment of the week. Parse culture has a lot to come by. Our advice to you is, if you have generally the same raid group, if you use Warcraft logs, it is a good tool to see how you are progressing and improving, and it's also a good way to see just basic rotations from high level players. So it is a good tool, but don't measure your EPing by it, because it's really, there's a lot more that goes into it. All right. Okay. So we're gonna do the questions first. We're gonna do
Bobby, we need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
All right, we're going to do some of these voicemails. Remember, 816-866-1066 or speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. Let's start the first one.
Hey guys, my comment relates to a few podcasts ago when you were talking about runes. And for the love of all that is holy, please can they do something to make runes easier to get for secondary characters. I've got a main and 7 alts, and I've killed so many dark rides it's not funny, and particularly the ones that are not class specific. So I certainly like the everything to do with the rogue and some of the others, but really there's a lot of repetitive ones in there, and particularly when you're trying to play catch up, it's very hard to find people that are at the same stage as you. Anyway, keep up the podcast. I look forward to it every week, and thanks very much.
All right, so we've been asking for something about this for a while. Gren did come out in a tweet and say something about they were working on some pesky last ones, but they do plan to put this in on a vendor in some way or another, as far as I understand it. But in this voicemail, he's talking about for alts and stuff. I say this is even more important for non-alts. This is more important if we want to get more people inside. They need to just. I have been saying for a bit, well, actually, just since last week, I just finally decided no catch-up mechanics. Just you have these runes when you start. Everything that wasn't put in phase 4, you make a new tune or you have an existing tune. They're all there. That's what I think kind of needs to happen. And people talk about, oh, you'll have this rune too early, but I think at this point we don't need to worry about that. We went way too long in phase 3. Let's get people back, and let's say all runes before phase 4, instant, boom, done. That's how I feel about it. But how do you guys feel about the rune catch-up stuff? Because you just made a new orc, so how was the Dark Riders for your orc, Kippzo?
I actually have a pretty surprising answer. I didn't do it. I've done the Dark Riders. Maybe, I'm trying to think. I've carried Peach through it twice, I think. I don't get runes that I don't need to get because they're a very obvious, blatant waste of time. Whenever I leveled that Orc Rogue, I had one rune in each slot that I absolutely needed because I knew it was good. I didn't bother getting rolling with the punches because I had Master Subtlety. So I had Mutilate, so I didn't bother getting Saber Slash, and I didn't bother getting like Quick Draw or anything. I went back and did them whenever I was like looking for stuff to do, waiting for this phase to come out. But yeah, and I had to go get Slaughter from the Shadows whenever they announced the changes to it. So even that low level stuff, I just didn't do it, especially a lot of the, I know kind of what this guy's talking about with like, a lot of them are like, you have to kill an elite or something like that. Or like, to get the meta quest, you have to go into SFK, which is really annoying on a new Warlock because I know a way.
Rogue. Do Rogue.
No, to get the metamorphosis quest.
Meta. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, like to be a Warlock tank. Like, let's say I want a Warlock tank BFD, and I'm starting like on a fresh account or something. I'm gonna have to get to like level 30 to do that, or like get like friends to carry me or something. Like, I actually know a way to like bug out the mobs through the evade spots, which is what me and Peach did on our Warlocks to get meta at like level 25. But I didn't make a video on it because I don't know, I'm just lazy. But
you should,
that's
dude.
Like,
you should, because people need to know that shit.
If he makes a video on it.
I figured out a way to solo the entire quest chain in phase 1, but I just didn't make the video because phase 2 was almost out, and then I thought that I was going to, and I just never did. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but I should.
You definitely should.
There's a lot of evade spots in SFK that'll also let you get like Deadly Brew at level 20, where you really want to wait until you're like level 24 for Vanish and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of that stuff is like, even as like somebody with like a lot of game knowledge, it's like the best thing that you can do. Like if Peach wants to level a warrior, is for me to get Taste of Blood for her, which is like a phase 3 rune or something like that. Because then at level 12, she can start using Taste for Blood and then have an overpower every like 6 seconds or 12 or whatever the cooldown is. And I think that kind of stuff is cool. And I actually want to make like a 1 to 60 leveling guide where I talk a lot about like how fast you can level stuff with later phase runes. Because one thing that we did for her mage was get it Frostfire Bolt at level 1, because you just run to STV and you just kill the Witch Doctor dudes and it'll drop the first time or the second time. And then you just one-shot stuff with Frostfire Bolt. And it's way better than just playing actual mage where you have like Ice Lance in the starting zone and that kind of stuff.
It's like druid with the Starfire.
Star Surge, yeah. So a lot of that stuff is like so dumb that it's gated, and even more so now that the reputation for Emerald Wardens is gated behind dailies. You can't really get friendly at like level 25. So if a rune like that would be really good for leveling, like for rogues, it's Cut to the Chase, which would be kind of cool to level with. It's kind of impossible to get at a low level now, and so I feel like they don't really think about the leveling aspect of the game. They think about this is like a phase 3 rune, so it's a tier 3, so it needs to be really good and hard to get. And if you got this at level 1, you would just blow through everything. But the whole point of Sod is the new runes, so like I don't get why they have kind of a power level associated with them. Like if I want to level a melee hunter from level 1, I have to get carried through the Dark Riders, and now it's 6 seconds instead of 3 seconds on Raptor Strike, so that's much worse now. And like it's kind of this whole new playstyle that is kind of being held down for no reason, because the devs are obviously don't have time to design the game further around new players, and they just kind of put the blanket XP buff in and hope that that's enough. But yeah, especially
it is a seasonal server though, right? Like, so we do have to take that into account. Like if they put all this effort into like getting new players in right now, like how many new players do we think are coming in right now from level 1? Because the server's going to reset here.
We don't know. That's the whole thing. We don't know when the server's going to reset. We don't even know when BWL is going to come out. But so then you would say, so I think Mel likes the idea Scotty J came up with forever ago, where you could buy the runes off a vendor for gold, but it's level gated. Or you could go and you can get say, the Star Surge rune is like level gated to like level 20, but you could take a level 1 if you have friends and go get it early instead of buying it from the vendor? Do you like?
So instead of buying it from the vendor, though, I think honestly, like it should just be from your trainer. Like I think you should be able to learn it. Like I think they assign a level to the different runes, and I think you should be able to train it at a specific level.
I mean, it's the same
but
deal.
you have the availability to go get it before that level, and
It'd be
think
less
that
confusing
that's
if it was at the trainer.
yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is that
For a
like
new player.
new players that
Gotcha.
maybe don't know to go to this vendor to buy this rune, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, even a lot of existing players don't know, like, there's a ton of shamans playing the game right now who don't have Sham Rage, who don't know that they can go buy it from a vendor because they don't even really realize that they don't have it anymore.
Right.
Like, especially tank shamans, because you can have both of them.
Our shaman didn't have. We had a couple shamans that didn't have it in our raid, in our Sunken Temple raid on launch, that didn't know they had to go buy it before we did the raid.
Yeah. A lot of it is just like if you don't stay up to date with, like, if you're not reading the Wowhead bot that posts all the articles, you're really handicapped, to be honest. And then people watch YouTube videos of people just reading those. But I think there's way too many changes. Like, I don't even want them to put in like a rune vendor for like to buy runes from later phases earlier, because if I make videos telling people how to get like runes and then you can just buy it from a vendor as of like 6 months later, it makes things way more confusing to have like these different versions of the game where the rune is like this in this phase and then it's like this in this phase and this, all the information's outdated and stuff like that.
I think a ton of content creators have been dealing with that. Simon and I talked about it 2 weeks ago on the pod, and it really stresses him out. And he throws in his videos now, if there's a change, I'll throw it in the pinned comment and give you, but he has to like go back and fix those pinned comments. And that sucks, but he does it because, he feels the need to have the right information. But most YouTubers aren't going to do that. I remember when Classic came out and I was looking at all these different mage, farm videos, and they were all from private servers who had, the mobs had different moves. There was this one farm in BRD that doesn't work because they net in real WoW, but they didn't net on your private server. So yeah, it is definitely weird for content creators, but your videos would still be good if they level gated when you could get the runes, but you would want to know that they're going to do that so that you could mark it as get so-and-so rune before you can get it normally, right? Or some like title of that nature.
Yeah, like if you could get Mind Spike at level 1 on a priest, that would be so fun and cool and dynamic, because you wouldn't be wanding for 29 levels for no reason, and then you get Mind Spike, and then you become basically a mage that can heal themselves. And I would want to play that. I would literally level up a priest for no reason at all right now, just to get that experience. But you just can't do it because they put it on the Night Elf quest, the No Honor Among Thieves quest, where you go to Arathi and kill the level 40 Night Elf. But if they had it in some other way, like you can get just a quick summon to Winterspring and you have Fan of Knives on a level 1 rogue. It doesn't really make sense, but obviously I'm not like, the devs are coming up with this as they go. But I think there's just way too many runes. I think it should be like getting Victory Rush or Crusader Strike should be like I don't think it should be like hard to get, but it should be like a big deal because you don't have that in regular vanilla. Like a lot of the stuff on SOD doesn't really make sense unless if you know regular vanilla, and I'll have to explain it to Peach. Like, well, especially with Feral Druid. Feral Druid is like the most duct taped thing on the planet with like its weapon skill and stuff like that, and it doesn't make any sense if you don't know how bad Feral Druid is originally, or like why it's bad, or how it's broken, or like what the crowd pummelers do and stuff like that. And they're fixing all of these things that new players are coming into, and they're like, they don't even know, not that it's, I guess they don't even know why it was a problem to begin with. But I do think SOD is really good for new players because Peach has had so much fun, and the game is really, it's not as insane as regular vanilla, where like as a warrior you just auto, or like a paladin, you're auto attacking for like 50 levels or something. You like actually have buttons to push and stuff like that.
Well, I want to ask Peach.
You guys are kind of convincing me to kind of like get on this bandwagon of like just give everybody all the runes, because I do think it would be enticing to more people. Like, not only do you have like the 100% XP buff, but you also get to one-shot things, and like that's fun.
Yeah, it's way more
like,
fun. I want to level a warrior with meat hook, but I think you have to be level 40.
Oh, hey, hold on. Don't talk about meat hook. We have a voicemail for that coming up.
Okay.
I do want to pivot back to Peach though, as like kind of a new player. Like, what is your thoughts on the runes and if there should be an easier way to get them? She's like totally AFK. Okay, there you go.
No, I'm here. It's a lot of pressure.
No pressure, no
I'm
pressure.
kidding. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we want to know as a new player how you feel about it. And then also imagine if you didn't have Kippzo.
Yeah, true. I've been carried pretty much the whole time in
This is
Crusader Strike now. So
a lot of info. Like, having a friend that knows all of that stuff is huge. But yeah, sorry.
I don't know. I actually really enjoy getting runes, even if it's a long walk and seems like a waste of time to other people. I don't mind doing like all the rune stuff, I guess. I think it's fun, but I've also only leveled 3 characters in SOD, so I'm not like burnt out. I guess it's kind of a lot.
Like,
but I'm not like
to
burnt out
50?
from it or anything. Yeah, to 50.
Oh, then yeah, you've leveled a lot of characters compared to the majority of people.
Okay, good to know.
But I do think they're fun to experience initially. I think there's just a difference. Like, when you're trying, it depends on what your goal is, right? Like, if you're leveling with somebody and you're enjoying yourself just leveling and like getting to the next step, I think that's different than if you're like a new player that wants to come in and raid with your friends and they're all at that step and you're just like, I just want to get there, right? Or if you're leveling another ult that you're just like, okay, I need to level this ult to get to raid, and now I have to do 1,000 different things. You know what I mean?
Well, and also, Kippzo, sorry, Mel, did I cut you off or were you done?
No.
So you talked about way too many runes. This is something that you can look back to my interview with the devs prior to phase 1 starting. I asked Clay Stone, so as we open up more rune slots in different armor pieces, is it going to get to a point to where you're like, okay, you could equip 7 or 8 runes, but you could only have 4 runes active at one time. So you have to pick and choose what runes you want to do. And they straight up told me no. And I thought to myself right then, this is going to be fucking confusing. Like, you know, like, so like, I kind of agree with you that maybe there is too many runes on top of that, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's like 40 around there, or like a little under 40, but yeah, they've kind of doubled back on a few things. Like, they said specifically that they had a death grip ability for warriors and they took it out because it was too much. But I feel like now they kind of realize like they've kind of overstepped a little bit, and SOD has all this extra stuff. They're just going to keep adding extra stuff and then, you know, work on like Agron kind of hinted at this in one of his tweets that,
yep, I know right where you're going.
There's going to be a future one where, or a future SOD where they don't go as hard as this. This is the super extra everything, like all the toppings on the pizza kind of thing. And so I don't blame them at all. I think people are mad that this even exists and they're like super, you know, upset. But I think if they don't do SOD era, this is their only time to have fun with it. But I do still think, like, especially for like now that Divine Storm has no competition, you have to use it instead of like Seal of Martyrdom as like a level 25 paladin. That quest should be soloable. I think it's weird that like you have to kill elites and stuff like that. This like the runes that require a group experience that are now out of date, that now, you know, it's 2 phases after that. You're obviously not going to find a group for these things. So they should just be soloable, I think, at the very least. Especially some of the more niche things that's the only reason why you'd go there is to do
Dark Riders.
That rune. Yeah.
And
well, I mean, the Dark Riders aren't that bad
Oh.
because everybody gets a rune from Dark Riders, but some of the stuff like if I'm a level 40 warrior and I want to do, there were like 6 elites. I haven't caught up with my warrior, but there's a lot of runes that you have to kill a very specific elite that you're just not going to be able to solo until you're like 20 levels higher than it. And if you find a group for it, the only thing that elite does is drop that rune because it was added for sod. So I think that's kind of a problem. They should just make it a regular mob. I really liked the elite owl in the wetlands because it wasn't really an elite. It was just hard to kill, but you could solo it as a warrior or a hunter, like in phase 1 for, I believe it was Raging Blow or Aspect of the Lion, whenever that was a rune.
Aspect of the Lion was in wetlands in the cave that has all the spiders.
Yeah. And you killed the elite owl.
Yeah.
But that wasn't hard. You could do that by yourself. You didn't need like a 5-man or like anything like that. And the same thing with like that Lich in Duskwood. You could kill that by yourself. But a lot of the like phase 2 and 3 runes are just, you just kind of have to either get a friend to help you or say goodbye to that rune until you're way over leveled with it, which I think is kind of lame. It doesn't really make sense, especially if the game is kind of balanced around it's phase 2. This is a phase rune rune. You're getting it at phase 2. Everybody should have this by now. Because the way that they're developing things, if you go from phase 2 to phase 3, you're making the assumption that everybody has the phase 2 runes. But then in phase 3, you make a fresh character, and then how does that journey look? And I think it's kind of, that could use some work. But I hope that they don't work on it because then it just changes more things. So I don't really know.
That's why I wanted to do the same thing you did. I regret being a undead rogue, and because it really doesn't give me that much more than being an orc rogue in PvP. Like, yeah, like we have the the real trinket from TBC now. We have the like it was a lot better. I mean, cannibalize is really good, but I mean for PvP, I think the stun resist, and then for PvE, just having the more rage not talent, what do they call it for people, for each class or each race, they have their own, like another word.
Books or
no, they're racial. Thank you, Kev. Thank you. In chat. Yeah, racials. So like, I really wish I would have been an orc, but I just didn't do it. I was like, I'm not redoing all of that stuff. And I have, you could also make a point to like your toys and stuff, by what those account bound. I didn't want to lose my toys. Like, I didn't want to lose my world warper and my thing that turns me into a freaking slug. And, those are fun things. And, and I didn't want to redo the supply crate bullshit like on a new tune. I'm not even exalted on either of my tunes yet. I'm close, but like I don't want to do that over again. It's just no way. So
I think the big thing is the PvP rep. Like I got exalted with Warsong on my undead rogue, and now it's like I don't really know what I'm gonna do, especially and the PvP ranks. Like I think I'm rank 1. I'm a grunt on my orc rogue, but I mean if you do want to relevel as orc, the backstab stuff is ridiculously fun. I wish that they put that in last phase because rogue was a really bad leveler compared to other classes because you have so much build up with like saber slash bleed or like deadly poison, and now they've actually addressed that with the backstab like Slaughter from the Shadows cutthroat combo, and that is so exciting and fun. And I might level up another rogue just for fun. Like I guess that's why I did it, not really because I'm super, like, I don't even know if I'm gonna join like a really try hard parsing guild, but or like run. I just wanted to level again because I like leveling, but I don't really have a use for like a 3rd or 4th rogue, so I probably won't. But at the same time, I want to and make a video about it because it seems fun because it's a new build, and that's what SOD's about. It's about the new builds and new backstabbing from the front. I haven't face stabbed since the private server days, so it's I might not be able to stop myself and do it anyway.
All right, well, we should move on to the next one here.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Bob. This is Virio from Crusader Strike Horde, calling in to you. Hope you're having a great day, and you're and Mel and all the guests. I have a question for you regarding Phase 4. Today is July 5th, and we have Phase 4 coming up this coming Thursday, July 11th. And I'm someone who really is in love with Sod. I've got 3 characters at max level: a Shadow Priest, a Hunter, and a Warrior. And like to raid on the 3 tunes and that sort of thing. Really involved on all 3 of them. They're either full bits or close to it. And I see Phase 4 as a chance and really a nudge in the direction of stepping down from 3 tunes. Seems like a lot of content for someone that's carrying 3 tunes in Phase 3, and I really see one of the 3 falling off in Phase 4. I think that it would probably be okay with someone that has a lot of time to play, as I do, to handle 2 tunes at max level and rating and that sort of thing. I think it's time to drop one of them. The Warrior is certainly getting the axe for me. I want to continue on the Hunter, and it's just there's so many different ways to play it, and the Shadow Priest is awesome as well. Wanted to know what your take is. I know that you've shared before having the 2 tunes. I think you roll with the Rogue and the Hunter. And I wanted to know how you're going to approach, the question I have is how you're going to approach having multiple tunes in Phase 4. Are you really going to main one and take it to max and bits it out and that whole sort of thing, and then move on to the alt? You're going to play both simultaneously. You've been sharing a lot about PvP on your Hunter and enjoying that. So what are your thoughts in the panels, the guest thoughts on your main, your alt, how you're going to handle all that in Phase 4? It really seems like a lot of content. Love the show. Keep up the great work. Thanks.
All right, so I can go kind of first.
Thank
you. Yeah, I can go kind of first on my plans. So I'm actually extremely stressed out and have an enormous amount of anxiety about this problem at the moment. So it could go different ways. I'm still in the deciding process if I'm going to main tank my raid. And if I main tank my raid, then I'm going to be a little bit crazy on the Rogue and have to do so much more prep and everything else to do that. And if I end up doing that, I am not going to half-ass that and let my people down. So if that is what I end up doing, instead of having Kef or somebody else take that mantle, like I really have to trust the person, because we're going to have to give them a lot of resources. We're going to have to give them possibly Thunder Fury. Like I need it to be someone I could trust. And that's going to be a hard choice, right? So if I do end up main tanking for my own raid, then my Hunter will be completely alt, like completely alt. It'll be what I play during the daytime when Melissa's at work type of thing. Like that's what it'll be. And I'll be doing every possible thing until I'm perfect for what I need, pre-bis, everything else. But then if I don't do that, and I do have a main tank that I can really trust, that I really, can count on, that will not leave during, like some phase, yada, yada. So we have to like come back. Then at that point, I will be kind of like half and half, I'll be working on the Hunter quite a bit. It does suck because I do enjoy PvPing, I think, on the Hunter more, but at the same time, yeah, I just don't know. It could even be that I do
like
Hunter.
A main tank perspective, though, right? Like, if you're going to be a main tank, then,
if I'm going to do that, then my Hunter is going to be just basically a super alt. But if I don't do that, I'll have 2 mains, right?
Yeah, but do you think that Phase 4 will be that much more demanding than Phase 3 with characters?
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean, we're not even like look at all the different reps you need to work up. Look at even Librams. Like if you want to enchant your head or legs, I mean, those are a whole lot of work to do to like get those, and you have to get it for each new gear upgrade. And I mean, all of these things are huge. And then on top of that, having 2 or 3 characters, you get shit confused. Like that was why I didn't even know. I thought I had those quests done in Ungoro, but no, it was with my hunter that I did those quests with you. Like it's, shit gets confused. Your bank gets like confusing. Everything gets like crazy. So yeah, it just depends on what I decide for what my rogue's role is going to be. And it could even be that my hunter ends up being in my raid and I just, try to like put my rogue someplace else. I don't know. It's all up in the air at the moment, but I'm stressed as fuck about it is basically how it comes down to it. But
I have no valuable opinion because I only have one character, and I've always really only had one character. I think I had 2 in phase 1, and that was it. So Kippzo and Peach here, I feel like, have multiple characters, so they may have a better insight into this.
I have 9 characters, I guess. Well, no, 10, because I have every class other than 2 rogues.
Oh my god.
So, first of all, the guy in the voicemail sounds like a gamer. 3 characters, and he's like full bis and rating on all of that. Like,
Right?
That's solid. Stepping down from the warrior DPS is looking crazy with the stance dancing stuff, and they don't really seem to be that well on the numbers, and so I don't blame him from stepping down from the DPS warrior. I think if you're willing to tank on the warrior tank looks like really solid for dungeons. I don't really know. It's like spamming Thunderclap or something, but I don't really know how they're going to do in raids or anything like that. So if you're not like a warrior all in, like I got to play warrior guy, it's probably a good idea to do something that's more exciting. Not to crap on warrior, but like, I'm interested in it. I kind of want to play mine, but it's just, with that and the hunter, if I can't figure it out, or like if I don't like the weaving or the play style, I'm totally okay to drop it. There's a lot of other stuff that I would want to play or something like that. I think the Shadow Priest is, you provide a lot of debuffs and stuff, but healing on a priest is really fun and easy. You kind of just like penance on cooldown, and what are the other things? You just kind of like hit all your cooldowns and like bubble everybody, renew everybody. So I think it's like an effort thing. Like
Circle of healing.
well,
yeah, circle of healing too.
Something I didn't even mention. If I wasn't running a raid, if I wasn't running a raid all through P3, I probably would have been running 3 or 4 tunes. And that's just a fact. I spend a lot of time in DMs with different people, figuring out beefs, figuring out all kinds of things. Like Mel, sometimes when we're leveling, like I'll just be like, hey, I need to put you on follow so I can build the roster. Like the roster just doesn't build itself. Like, so if I wasn't doing that, I'd probably be playing with a lot more tunes too. So it's, yeah. But what about you, Peach? How do you feel about your alts? Like, you're planning on raiding, right? Do you plan on raiding on more than one character?
I don't know. I want to play all 3 of my alts, like, I guess, but
well, want to do are 2 different things, right?
I know. I don't even know which one I want to main. I'm just kind of gonna hit 60 probably on all of them and go from there. See.
We do have a good amount of time.
I like more.
I mean, if you're already almost 60 on one, I mean, the 2 world bosses don't even open up until Thursday, and then you have a whole nother 7 days after that until the actual MC comes out. So you do have time to figure out which one you actually want to do, but you got to be doing the pre-raid bis. Shaka Zulu in chat's talking about if you don't have your 0.5 tier set, like people are going to be like, should you be coming? So what do you think? Like, does that like give you as much anxiety as it gives me?
Maybe not, because I don't like know what I'm getting into. I think I've never done any of the vanilla stuff in WoW.
No, it doesn't give me as much anxiety either.
But I think I'm probably gonna just stick with my warlock and get her all geared before I consider it further. Just because she's like about to hit 60, so I don't know if I want to overwhelm myself with 2 other characters.
Yeah, because the pre-bis grind is pretty crazy now with the new currencies you get, and I mean, I'm still
We
looking
just
into
don't
everything.
even know if the previous grind is necessary either, though. Like, that's my thing, is like, we don't know. Like, these people could be going in and just demolishing things, and like regular people could go in without prebis and still be able to clear the content. Like, I don't think it's going to be that crazy hard.
Yeah, that's kind of a good point. I think a lot of people, they grind really, really hard to get like +3 strength or something. Like the cape from BRD, I never got that on my Undead Rogue, and I was like raiding in a Parsing guild, and I don't know, it was hard to find BRD groups as a rogue, and I just didn't get it, and I just didn't care. So I think it's just like do what you can and do what's fun, and if it's like you're fighting an uphill battle, then probably just back off and chill a little bit. Like, I was going to play my shaman. I was so hyped for it because of the spamming chain lightning thing, but then they nerfed it, and I don't even know. I might heal on it or something. Enhance looks kind of fun, but it's like, I don't know. There's a lot in SOD right now, especially like the classes are the most fun part, but
And the classes has changed so much. I'm like,
oh yeah,
trying to retrain my brain to use my new like blunderbuss. Like, I forget to use it when I'm fighting AoE packs, you know, and you're just retraining your brain on so many things on classes, you know. So then, like, the more classes you do, like, do you want to play them really good or do you want to play them mediocre? You know, it's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and do you want to get all those characters bissed out? Like, Shadow Priest looks kind of fun, but it's probably not going to be in like my top 2, probably not even my top 3. But I'll still play a little bit. But it's obviously not getting full bis. Like, that'd be insane, because I'm just not really a Shadow Priest player. But I want to experience it. It seems to have like the best mass AoE in the game. You drop a Void Zone and then you spam Mind Seer. Oh my god,
nuts,
that's crazy.
Man. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, and I want to do that like at least once because I have the character. I've kind of earned it. But I'm not going to like, you know, go to MC or whatever, but it kind of helps like just for my game knowledge, and if I want to make a video or something, for me to be able to, like, if there's some kind of mechanic like mind controlling the Vesuvius ads and Nax, for me to know how to do that, just to be able to like teach it to other people. So I don't know, I don't really use my characters for fun, but I definitely don't raid on them all. A lot of them have like 11 runes on them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I just got all of my hunter runes at the end of phase 3.
I still don't have kill command. I just never got it. I did a Wailing Caverns, and then, you know, the like tame the wind serpent thing, or the wyvern.
Yep.
I was like, I was CBA. I don't know. I just didn't do it because it was only good to snapshot in that first like few days, and then they nerfed it. So.
Yep. All right. Well. Yep. Well, thank you for your voicemail. Let's hit the next one.
Hey, Bob, Mel, and the rest of the gang. This is Rank Boss from Crusader Strike. I want to call and talk about hunters and hear you guys' thoughts because I play melee hunter, and I know you do too, Bob. And personally, I think they kind of botched it. They're trying to give every spec like a way to play, meaning, you know, they want you to be able to do 2-hand survival or dual wield with a pet, and they want weaving, and it kind of turns out that like so many of them are so far behind that there's not really an actual choice. The whole weaving thing, I feel like such a small percentage of players wanted, and I was thinking it would do something to nerf it because Chimera Shot shouldn't be your number 1 damage dealer as a melee hunter. And Zyrene had some surprisingly pretty snarky replies on Twitter, so I don't think they plan to fix it. So what are your plans, Bob? You gonna stick with melee? You gonna do the weaving, or you just gonna go with the easy spec of the 3-button ranged with aim shot and chimeras? Have a great one.
All right. Well, for me, in phase 1, the weaving thing was the thing that got me excited about hunter and got me to work up a hunter first. And then phase 2, when they put in melee hunter, I was like, oh, hell yeah. Because I just love melee. Like, that's my thing. And I was in PvP, I was getting the best of both worlds because I could hit like a truck melee, but I could still dink and dunk and do some solid damage and solid CC to other classes by using trap launcher instead of, like, I did less damage dual wielding, but in PvP, I used the big two-hander and would really slap people. And so it was like the best of both worlds. So I loved it, but I'm probably not going to do the ranged hunter unless it's so egregious that I can't get into a raid without doing it. And I don't think it's going to be that yet. There's, everybody's saying that ranged hunter does more damage, but I think there's a lot more testing to be had. There's so many different ways to play this now, and I do not think that everybody has figured it out. So I'm still sticking with melee hunter, and if I have to back out and shoot a shot, like it'll be interesting because I don't know, I like that play style way more than just sitting back and just shooting. So that's kind of where I'm at. I do think they kind of botched it a little bit maybe, but until we know for sure that melee, I just always feel melee should do more damage. I'm a broken record. Everybody hates that I say that, but I don't even know that I'm in that same boat now anymore. If they're gonna look at PvP and do the things like they did, like currently now in SOD PvP, ranged and casting, it has a 30% damage debuff, whereas melee only has a 20% damage debuff. I think going in that type of direction for PvP, I could get on board with everybody, is more equal in PvE. So, it's always been about PvP for me, not about PvE as far as me wanting to have melee do more. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with melee, and I just really think they've done a lot of cool shit to make it really cool, and that's where I'm at. But what about you, Kippzo?
I'm excited for the new things that they've added, like the Wyvern Strike and being survival instead of being forced to be BM. I'm
excited about that too, a lot.
But I'm mostly unexcited about BM because of the changes to Raptor Strike and what's the one where you have Mongoose Bite. Those changes with the Cobra Slayer rune kind of obviously flopped. It seems like that's just like the worst thing that you can do. So I don't even know why it's an option. I totally agree with the guy in the voicemail. Like, there's like a trillion options, and unfortunately there's like 3 playstyles that are simming. It's like weaving and then ranged and then, or like weaving and then full ranged, then full melee. And because full melee is a little bit under full ranged, I think community perception wise, people are just going to look down on pure melee hunters. I haven't leveled my hunter, really played it at all, but I'm planning on doing it second. And if I don't really like the whole weaving thing, I might just stick to it being ranged. I just like hunter as a class because I just like feign death. It's really roguey. You have a lot of tools and stuff like that. But I definitely like melee more than ranged at the same time. So I was really hoping that, full melee, especially like two-handed lone wolf, was going to be the play. Like, you're like an arms warrior. But I think
you're a ranger. You're like Aragorn right there. You got the two-handed sword, but you could use a bow. Oh, love it.
Mm-hmm. If they really wanted, like, I guess I don't mind weaving, because whenever you're playing a hunter, and like, let's say I'm playing a pure ranged hunter, and I'm not steady shotting, I'm like, man, I have this two-hander on my back that I could just, swing with at any moment, and it could be on cool. I'm losing a lot of DPS by not swinging with it. But I don't really. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just have a question for you when you're done.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't really think that it was really. I think because of just the way that the dead zone is in vanilla, I think it's just going to be uncomfortable to melee weave, unless if they just make a change to that to be more TBC like. It's just way too big and annoying, and I don't really.
We would need the new disengage, right? The one that shoots you back.
That, or just make it so it's like melee range versus like in TBC, you just kind of took a step forward and you were in melee range, and then you took a step back and you were at range, and that weaving is like, it feels kind of good and satisfying. But like this, where you have, you know, a number of yards, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but you have to literally walk out and walk back in, unless if like, I would much prefer it if they put it in the direction of like, you have one melee ability, which is Raptor Strike, which hits like a struck, and then one ranged ability, which is Chimera Shot, which hits like a truck, and then you just do both of those. That seems kind of fun, I guess. Like, and they both have similar cooldowns, but they've added so many different abilities, like with the Wyvern Strike and the changes to Mongoose Bite and the traps on top of it, and resetting the Chimera Shot with the lock and load and being able to kill shot in melee. It just seems like they tried really, 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 really hard for no reason, and nobody appreciates this. Luckily, nobody's playing Hunter. I've seen like no Hunters out in the world or anything.
I know.
So as a Horde Hunter, you're pretty much guaranteed a raid spot if you want to play around with it, or if you are just committed to the class like I kind of am. So you don't really have to worry about that. But as an Alliance Hunter, I mean, it's going to be a lot of raids where they just don't have a Hunter because they don't need one, and nobody wants to bother with all of this random crap, I guess.
And okay, so this isn't the question I had to you, but and also they kind of made it worse with a good change. They made a good change that made less hunters needed. You know what change I'm talking about.
Yeah, the aspect of the lion.
Yep.
Well, I like that change because previously I didn't like playing ranged hunter because the difference between having your pet and not having a pet, it's night and day. You know what I mean? Like I tried to play ranged in our raid, and it was just like anytime that I had my pet out, I was just like, this feels so bad. Everything hits so less hard. I have to manage this little crap cat just running around, and he builds up these stacks, and then I have to eat the stacks, and then I attack way faster, and then I miss more DPS whenever I move because I'm missing more shots. It seemed like really bad. So I'm more open to playing ranged.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. You're like, I want to go back to melee, and I was like, oh, there goes our buff. But I got it because I was in Bobka's raid doing the same thing, and people would always be like, Bob, I don't have my buff. I'm like, yeah, I'm melee.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm like, well, if I have to have the pet out all the time, no matter what, I'm the aspect of the lion hunter. I'd rather just be melee and do way more damage than manage all of this crap that theoretically could do as much damage and give true shot aura. But now it looks like you play, I guess if you're pure ranged, you have no reason to be survival. So like, I kind of want to play ranged, but I want to be survival. I don't want to be true shot aura. So it's like, you can't use Wyvern Sting without it being Wyvern Strike, so then you have to weave. So it's, I don't know, the whole thing's kind of messed up, but I'm happy that Lone Wolf is like playable now, because it was always extremely good, but you just couldn't do it because you needed Lion. But
so now Lion gives you true shot aura, but what people haven't talked about, at least I haven't heard people talk about it, is the fact that it gives it to your entire raid. So now instead of needing a hunter in each melee group, you only need one hunter, which means you can stack other stuff in there. So every raid's going to need a hunter, but they only need one.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to go back to kind of the way that it's been all of Classic, besides TBC, where you have that one guy in your guild who's pretty much Zeroji, who is like soloing Lobers by himself and like Uldamon and stuff, and he's the hunter guy, and he's like, he has 16
and he's the guy that gets your
and,
DMFs, and
yeah, and that guy's obviously going to play whatever sims the best. So the other
DMFs,
builds,
Dire Maul.
Yeah, Dire Maul. Yeah, he solos tribute. Yeah. You have that one guy in your raid who's just obsessed with Hunter, and you don't know what he's doing, and he doesn't even know what he's doing, but he's doing whatever sims the best, and he has a million abilities, and he's resetting things and leaving combat in the middle with feign death and stuff like that. And it's kind of sad that they spent so much time working on all these different playstyles for one person to play one of them. So I think it's unquestionably a failure. And they didn't remove the RNG from Raptor Strike resets, which is just obnoxious. It doesn't. If you rework the whole class and you put even more in RNG in, because now a 6-second reset instead of a 3-second reset is way more important. So yeah, I'd say it's a failure, and the community perception says it's a failure as well. So I don't know.
And all the big hunter guys, I mean, they're literally wanting ranged because they were hunter guys before, and they weren't like looking into they weren't really caring about being a melee hunter, and so you just don't have people. I'm telling you, I think people are going to figure stuff out, but it's going to be really hard to find the information, and I don't know if the hunter Discord is going to be any help to you at all. So.
Well, if you're that one hunter guy, you're going to be deep in the hunter Discord, and you probably won't have time for alts or anything like that. And, you'll just be deep in the textbooks, like memorizing, like, okay, then raptor flanking, and then weaving, and then wyvern, and then, if my raptor resets, then I have to convert to this rotation, which I don't mind that kind of stuff. I really liked it in TBC with the, the dynamically updating rotation based on your attack power. But I think just running out of like running away from the boss is kind of like not fun, but I haven't tried it out yet. So, I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll get really into it and make some guides or something, and see how much more like quality of life I can add to it. But yeah, I still got to wait and see, but I understand people being like, what is going on and re-rolling off of it. I think that's what the average player should do, to be honest. If I had a friend who was like, hey, I've been playing Hunter, I really like it, but I don't know what's going on with the ranged and stuff. Could you recommend like a thing that I could do? It would be either bunker down and take this like really seriously and be the hunter guy, or go play something else.
Yeah, and hunter on top of that, you just have. I mean, I've been playing it in SOD this entire time, and I still constantly afterwards I'm like, oh, I should have used that. Oh, I should have used that. Oh, I should have used that. I mean, it's
a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a lot, and you can do so much as a hunter, but I understand where the huntard came from, because you can also do pretty good just not knowing hardly anything, but the really good, it's a very low skill floor, but the skill ceiling is off the chart. So yeah, I mean, hunters can save raids. It's crazy. But ladies, do you have anything to say about hunters before we move on from this one?
I have no opinion on hunters.
Yeah, I don't think they play hunter.
Yeah.
Other than their pets suck.
We're just bored of you guys talking. Move on. All right.
No.
Moving on to the next one.
Good afternoon, Bob, and whoever is there. I play on Crusader Strike Horde, and I recall Bob once saying that he didn't like abilities that would physically move another character. Now, Warrior has the meat hook grip, pulls you towards you. So as a caster that I play, they can charge me once, they can intercept me again, and then they can pull me towards them. Now, I requested once that because of demon form, you could have some sort of ability to move people away from me, because if once a warrior is on you, he will hamstring you, and then you goosed. There's nothing you can do. You just slowed and goosed. Therefore, how does he feel now that warriors have got an ability, a class that he plays, that now they've got ability to move someone directly towards him, despite him not wanting that ability to begin with? All the best. Love you all. Cheers.
I love you.
He thinks that it's wonderful for the warrior, not for anybody else. So
I love how it turned into him instead of Bob. But as a warrior lover, and as somebody who, I'm not playing warrior right now, but that's just because I feel like they just haven't been given new cool stuff to play with. It's all been damage modifiers and bullshit throughout SOD. Like I had a warrior, I decided to stop playing him just because it was like I didn't like the changes they were making, whereas I loved the changes they were making to rogue and hunter, so it just made sense. But yeah, as far as the hook, I think this was a horrible idea. I do not know why you did it. We talked to you guys at BlizzCon multiple times. You said you don't want people to have to like be loss of control of their character. Besides CC, blowing people off of mountains is fun for a second, but it's not fun for the overall gameplay. I think it's horrible. It's like Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. Get over here, and it's like
Roadhog though. Like, is it like the Roadhog hook?
It's literally the Roadhog hook. Yes, although
like Death Grip.
You can't turn
Overwatch,
while you hook
Roadhog,
them and
Overwatch.
drop them down a well, though. So you can't do that. But
That's a bummer.
it's yeah. I think it's horrible. I have yet to experience it in PvP, but I'm sure it's going to be really annoying. And yeah, like warriors, I feel should be charging in, not sucking back. That's how I feel about it. I don't know.
Did you get rage from sucking back?
No, it costs 15 rage to do it.
Does it do any damage? If it does damage, you get rage, but I don't think it does any damage.
I don't know. I was extremely surprised that it's not a rune or anything. I just logged in. I was like buying all my runes on the new book vendor, and I was like, let's see what warrior has. And I'm like, oh my god, meat hook? What? Like,
yeah,
it's like
just
you're looking for
baseline. Is a baseline ability. It's
it's like you're looking through your kids' school supplies, and there's like a machine gun, and you're like, whoa, okay, I guess, or I don't know what they're doing over there. Yeah, like what's going on with this? But I mean, it'll be crazy in PvP. I mean, I can't wait to see. Hopefully, there's like some monkey news montages, but luckily, I don't think there's that many people playing warrior. But
it's okay. So something it threw me off when I saw it in ST. I saw Sand do it, or maybe it was Gribble Jones, but one of them sucked one to him. It was like almost instant. Whereas like the Death Knight pole, right? You like fly up in the air a little bit, you come down, you have a little bit of time to think
there's
about.
Like an animation.
Yeah, I just got pulled in. I need to know what to do as soon as I get here. But I don't even know if they have a global up after they get pulled in. So it's super fast.
Yeah, I don't know. And it seems weird. The definition on it says like can't be used. It works on like things that are one level higher than you. And you can't use it on boss enemies. But does that mean like in Molten Core, are we going to use warriors specifically just to group stuff up and then AoE it down? Like our speedrun's going to be a bunch of Shadow Priests and then a bunch of warriors all charging or intercepting in and then grabbing Molten Giants from across your screen and putting them in this big, 25 void zones all stacked together. I don't think it's healthy for PvP or
annoying.
PvE. I think it's really weird. I don't know. I guess they had already coded it and they were like, you know what, let's just throw it in. But like the fact that it's not a rune is just totally insane. Like I don't know why it's a book. Like
yeah, that's crazy.
And you could do it as a prot warrior too. I guess it'd be cool for tanking. Like the caster's in the back, and instead of intercepting in and shield bashing him or kicking him or telling somebody else to kick the caster and bringing it in, you just grip it in, I guess. But if there's two caster mobs, then I guess you need two warriors. I don't know. I agree with the community reaction of like not like outrage, but just like big question mark on it.
No thanks.
And when all these different move mechanics came in, and this is what this caller's talking about. When these came in, there were other things put in that pushed back, that like gave other people the things. Right now, warrior is the only one that can take control of another person's character and move them to a different spot. And I think it's bad. I think it's really bad. And yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I remember whenever I was a little kid in TBC in the Wrath pre-patch, there was big news. Everybody like, druids have this pushback thing, and then shamans have it too. And then I logged in my shaman at Respect Elemental, and then I just did Eye of the Storm, and that was the entire battleground for like a month. That was the only thing that anybody was doing. You would queue up AB, and everybody would go lumber mill, and you just try and knock everybody off, and that was the entire game. It removed WoW, and instead you were playing bumper cars or pinball or whatever.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I feel the same way. Anybody else have any other thoughts before we move on?
I don't love it, but think they're trying to give warriors something to like, because they've been sad little warriors, all sod. But this was not the thing to give them.
Well, they gave them the world buff too, I guess, to make sure there's one per raid. But have they found that yet? I remember that on the PTR.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, so Zansky in chat said, you know, that he disagrees with me on Meat Hook. He says he doesn't give a reason why it's a solid change, but he thinks it's a solid change as a warrior made for 20 years. I think that no, like, if you're looking for warriors to be good in PvP, well, they are. And like, you just have to have a pocket healer, and they are monsters. So are you telling me you should be good solo and then let me think about you with a pocket heal? That's absurd, right? So I don't agree with that at all. Yes, I think, you know, I've talked about it many times. A warrior in Classic is a Ferrari. It starts out as a Pinto with a Ferrari body kit on top of it. And then you slowly, you know, get wheels, get tires, get a new engine, get all the things that go. And then once you have it souped up, that shit sits in the garage, you know, until you have the proper way to play it, you know, the proper time. You drive it on weekends. Like, it's not a just run around town character. And if there'd have to be some major nerfs that go in to make me be okay with you being okay soloing in the open world. And that's kind of how, like, you'd have to have some major nerfs to a lot of major things that they're just would kind of just make the character not great. Like, warrior is the character that you rise up with help, and that's the way I feel about it. And unless you're have rage, you know, changed completely, then I feel like that's the way it is.
Yeah, I think it usually is the powerhouse of vanilla. And when they announced SOD at BlizzCon, they said, like, that's not going to happen this time. You know, everybody else is going to be the powerhouse. But then it kind of needed a new role. And instead of defining its role, they kind of just, like, gave it random crap and were like, good luck.
Yeah.
And, you know, it really doesn't have, like, a big place. Like,
and they could have given them a, like, crippling shot or something like that instead of the meat hook. Like, you know, if they were having that many problems.
Well, then you take away from rogues, though. Like, I don't know. I feel like they didn't want to. They said at BlizzCon they weren't going to make warriors the, like, end all be all, right? And nobody believed it. Everybody believed every phase that was going to be the warrior phase, right? Like, everybody. And then even now, people are still like, just wait till we get to 60. It's warriors, right? Like, no matter what they do or don't do, and people believe that warriors will still take the cake.
It would have been even better to have it be another charge. Because so the skill in warrior in PvP definitely is knowing when and when not to charge in or intercept in, right? So just give them a weird proc thing where sometimes charge will just, like, reset, you know, if they have the charge root on, and then they could charge once again, but then they could screw themselves in the process. Like, it's a, you know, but them pulling people in, I think is just like, it's not good. It's not good.
It's not good for PvP. I don't know that I care about it in PvE, other than it might be a little weird, but it's the same thing as, like, hey, that's a caster, pull that caster into the group, and you put that on the warrior instead of somebody else, right? Like the mage to silence or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know. I don't know really what it's going to be used for. I hope it's not like you bring 10 warriors and then group the whole instance together, you know?
Yeah. Yep. That's why I'm still, everybody hates my take on, like, you're allowed to have one class per group. So in a 20-man raid, you could have 4 warriors tops or 4 priests. I love it. I think it's the best, like, because then it would just, like, it would give them an easier time trying to balance. Like they would have time to fix it instead of like people figure it out and they're like, all right, we're bringing 8 warriors. Oh shit, we just broke the record. You know.
Be back
I
one sec.
just think you're wrong.
You just think I'm wrong?
Peach, do you play warrior?
I've tried just about every class except warrior.
Yeah. I've never tried warrior either.
Don't do it. It's
Every time I
don't do it.
mention
I hear it's
trying to make
horrible.
a warrior, someone's like, "Don't do it.
I
You
know,
hate
right?
yourself."
it's
Then don't do
rough.
it.
It's rough. And people
But, like, for this beloved class, people have a lot of negative things to say about it.
It's okay. People see it and they see like Alondo or people doing these crazy damage. Dude, you are going to have to get a college degree to be able to play like Alondo. I'm telling you, I went warrior when Classic came back. I had never played it. 2019, I was like, all right, I'm gonna play the master class. I had to watch so many guides. I had to research so many things. Like I had to learn about glancing blows and how weapon skill gives you hit, but it's a different type of hit that gives you more damage on your glancing blows. I mean, it's fucking insane. And then on top of it, your stance dancing, and even if you're spec'd in the way that you can save rage, it's still, you're going to fuck yourself so many times as a new player having 100 rage and stance dancing because you think you want to do this one move and you're going to lose 75 of your rage. And it's just, it's a hard class to play. So
Even like everything you just said,
it.
I'm just like, huh?
Yeah, and you have to understand it all. And then on top of that, if you don't have world buffs, there's heroic strike canceling, and you need to understand to do that, but not let your heroic strike go through. You have to cancel it. You have to be able to watch your swing timers. I mean, it is a big thing, and most people are not going to have the patience to actually become a good warrior. So I wouldn't recommend it to anybody unless you're a masochist.
Yeah, I mean, that's even in regular vanilla, but with the new stuff in SOD where you get bonuses for stance dancing is like, they took like the worst part. Like if you had like a pet bunny that was really hard to take care of and you're like, hey, we made it so the bunny poops like 6 times more often. It's like, why they made like the worst parts better.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, I don't really
Why?
get it. I think in comparison, like the mage, everybody has insane AoE, and mage is like the 8th best AoE class now. But mage was the AoE class in vanilla, but now they have the new identity of like hot streaks overpowered. They have insane single target damage. So
well, and they made him a healer, and then Ampi made them regret making them healers. Like in phase 1, remember Ampi pulling
AoE stuff,
the entirety of Wailing Caverns and AoEing it down easy as pie. Oh my god.
I mean, who thought making mages a healer was a good idea?
I think
Let's
they
be
just didn't
clear
have
here.
anything better to do with them. Same with rogue tanks. They were just like, well,
Yeah, might
you're
as well do
melee,
this.
I guess. Yeah, you can't have rogue healers and mage tanks. That would make less sense. So
Oh man. Oh,
No.
man. All right. Well, here.
I've said it from the beginning. If they make rogues healers, I quit the game. No ifs, ands, or buts.
It would be like a monk, right? Like monks heal in melee.
Well, monks
If you
get
make a rogue
they get a mana
healer,
bar when they
I'm
do that.
so done.
Which is surprising to me because Zyrene's worked on a lot of this, and he's talked to me many times about liking the monk healing style. So I was interested.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, there was no melee healing style in SOD.
Yeah,
Real big drift from
there's no real melee
classic,
weaving.
though. You know?
I like the wrath weaving from resto druids, but yeah, they didn't really add anything. They just added a bunch of new cool healing abilities. That's kind of it.
Dude,
From
the
like
kata healing for priest was nutty.
like
Or
the is that when they put in the
priests.
smite thing?
Yeah, discipline
Yeah,
priest
right.
specifically.
Atonement.
Yeah.
I like
literally
that.
damaged to
I
heal,
loved it
which was
too.
cool. But it was such a like, I don't know. In my mind, I had to remind myself that like, oh, this person needs healing. I should smite? No. Like that goes against everything I believe. It was very weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, here let's go to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Mel, Bob, and
It's a little here. Hold on.
I thought
it's a little quiet to start off with, but he does lean in closer to the mic at some point because this was off of speakpipe.com. So,
hello, Mel, Bob, and guests. I thought I'd call in to give my take on who should do the most damage conversation from last week. How about an alternative? Your class has utility? Well, then 90% of players are going to do horrible, horrible DPS. However, the top 10% might just be able to keep up with the rest of the DPS pack. Maybe the rotation could be a little bit harder or more complex with optional complexity like what Bear Weaving gave us in RF Lich King. You have less utility? Well, you're still going to do decent DPS because it's hard not to with your class. You can still stand out though with your parsers, but nobody's going to notice in the raid due to just how close things are. In the end, I think what's most important is that Blizzard just keeps changing things throughout the phases. If everyone gets their chance to shine, then everyone can be happy. Oh, and Mel, you're right, and Bob's wrong.
Mel's right and Bob's wrong.
Yes. He's my favorite.
Mel's the best, and Bob, you're wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it
that was
stands
one of
true
our
every day.
first voicemails that I turned that into a clip because it was too funny. All right, yeah.
And
So
too true. Too true.
Yeah, this who should do the more damage thing has been a weird take. Like mine's always based on PvP, and a lot of people don't even PvP and only do it for the benefits of PvE. And I love you guys because I can kill you and it's fun, and there's a lot more of you on Alliance side, so it's been great. But yeah, I really enjoy winning 99% of my games, and it's not because of Shaman Alley. It's because you guys on Crusader Strike are PvEers, and you don't care to respec to a PvP spec. It's on you. All right, sorry. Now that I've pissed off all the listeners, anybody else have a take?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of, I don't know how they decide who should do the most damage, but Peach has definitely ran into this where she's on her Warlock and she'll do the insane single target Destro rotation where you have to keep up everything and watch all your cooldowns, and then she doesn't really do that much damage, and then I'm a rogue just like mashing my buttons like crazy, and I obviously top single target. So I think complexity should always be rewarded with like some extra damage, even if there's like a better modifier on it or something, but it doesn't really play out that way for some reason a lot of the time.
It's kind of like the rogues in P3. So you could be close,
let's stay away from
hold on. Yeah, but I mean, I can only talk about what I know, but this is an exact instance of that. You could take the rune that resets your slice and dice, right? And you could just mutilate and envenom, and you could do comparable damage. But if you wanted to push it just a little 10% higher, you could do the rune where you get 20% more damage, keeping up bleeds. And then you're adding a lot more to your rotation because you're not auto updating slice and dice with your envenom. And you have to keep Rupture up also, but you're going to do more damage in the long run if you play it right. But the average player is going to do more damage by just doing the rune that's like easy, that like they just literally have to do mutilate and envenom after slice and dice has already been started because it's going to auto refresh. That's the type of thing that is really cool, and it was neat to see, that somebody who didn't have the skill could start out doing that lower rotation and then move into a higher rotation. So I do kind of like that idea of yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is I think that, and I agree with you, Bob, but I do think that there are instances of this where like Feral Druid, to be a good Feral Druid, I believe the rotation is very complex and like there's a lot of nuance that goes into that. And there's in turn not a ton of really good Feral Druids. At least at one point
in
probably
Wrath.
not Sod,
Yeah,
in Wrath.
In Wrath, it was totally like that. It was absurd how crazy the rotation was, and just balancing, keeping all of everything up, and then knowing when you should be, and then getting the proc to like hit your other move. Yeah, I forget the names of the moves, but yeah, it was extremely intense.
I didn't play Feral Druid.
I haven't played Feral since phase 1 though, so I don't know what it is right now in SOD.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I think that was interesting. I don't know that was the best play, and maybe it's different because he's saying they could do good damage, but not great damage unless they were really like fluent at the class. But I think it's just so hard to know what the players are gonna freaking like exploit and figure out and make it. Like, I think when they're testing it sounds perfect, right? And then they get a Simonized who puts together 1,000 different calculations in his head and comes out with like, hey, guess what we can do on
druids
rogues.
Don't have a Simonized. Like, rogues are lucky that we have a Simonized. The rogues in Kata are still like, Simonized, play Kata. Like,
but what I'm saying is like, there's just only so much they can do with balance without knowing what the degenerate population is going to do with that balance, right?
Yeah. I think ideally it's always like, well, the harder the rotation is, the more damage you do. But I don't think the devs know how to reverse engineer design that. They kind of just put stuff in the game, and then what actually turns out being good is somewhat random, unless if they overtune it on purpose. And whenever they overtune it on purpose, that feels cheesy and weird and messes up some other things. But there is actually a guy, the new Cataclysm WoW head writer is Warstry, who's from Fusion, and him and Squirrely do some great content. So if you play Kata and you're a rogue and you want to Simonize, look up Squirrely. It's like, it has a W. Like, I don't know how to spell his name, but
can you link it in our chat here, and then I could put it in the show notes for everybody?
Yeah, I could find it for you. He's a real nice guy. Awesome. He streams and he does a little bit of YouTube, but
perfect. Yeah, we'd like to get, especially like, there's a lot of new content creators coming up. Like, any of you content creators that might be watching this show, reach out to me. I'd love to have new blood in. Like, I love to get new opinions, new takes. So if you want to, get yourself, a little bit of a boost, I know you're YouTubers, but we're not that big on YouTube, but people do listen to this on audio that also watch YouTube vids. They just don't watch this on YouTube because it's talking heads. So, So
it is.
Let us know.
SQWERRELLY. Just for you that don't want to look into the show notes.
Yeah, I believe he went from, he's not in Fusion anymore. He joined Bipolar, and then Bipolar's rogue Richest joined Who. I think so. There's a little mix up on the top rogues, but they're all still the same guys, and now Squirrely makes content. And I like his videos, but I don't really play Kata. But the rotations do seem like really complicated and awesome, like how you execute with backstab as assassination, and all the stuff going on like all 3 rogue specs are like viable in different situations. I guess sub is kind of the most you could leave it out theoretically one, but yeah, I really enjoy complex rotations. It's just those usually come in like really later expansions, and the game is so bad and there's expansions that I just don't want to play it. So in vanilla WoW, things are simple, but I still enjoy the simplicity. Like a lot of people aren't hyped about the way that Warlocks are right now, but I was trying to explain to Peach, like, the first 3 expansions, you don't get to play Destro. The first 2, you're spamming Shadow Bolt. And then the third one, you're Affliction snapshotting with dots. And then in Kata, I think you play Demo the whole time. So really, the first time you get to play Destro in PvE, it's Mop. And everybody loves it. People think it's like the best iteration of Warlock. And then usually in retail, Affliction's overpowered. So it's cool that you get to play Destro right now. And it's the best, like the Fire Destro.
Well, and if you're in vanilla playing, playing Lock, you're for sure doing a curse, and on top of that, you're having to like really, okay, so SOD's a little different because there's a lot of hit in the game, but you weren't even close to your cap until you get to like ZG and stuff.
Yeah, with the Bloodvine set.
Yep. And so it's like you're not even doing that. But then on top of that, once you do get that stuff, then you have to watch your threat, because if you open up with 3 crit shadow bolts, you have to literally just stop casting. You have to take your hands off the keyboard for like a good 3 to 5 seconds. And so it's just, it wasn't fun for them to start out with. But, I remembered my question on Hunter. Okay. All right.
I just want to get Peach's thoughts on Warlock.
Remind me. I have a question about Hunter that I missed that I really need to ask.
Okay. Like, what are your thoughts on Warlock and how they're, I don't know, doing really good AoE damage versus really horrible boss damage? Like, do you feel like there's changes that need to be made to that?
Yeah, I mean, it feels really good to do like the shadow bolt volleys for all the trash and shining there, I guess. But yeah, whenever I'm like going through, like, I'm tracking like 6 different like numbers, waiting for things to reset, or whatever. It's just like, it sucks to not see like all the work you put into it, like, go into the damage meter.
Yeah, like payoff.
I'm like focusing so hard on my rotation. I'm like, okay, I must be like pumping or something. And I'm like, oh, I'm 14th. That doesn't feel good.
You're like, I'm killing it. And you look over and you're like, fuck, no, I'm not. All right.
Yeah, it's like that payphone meme, and then I'm over here just like bashing Envenom with the payphone guy, and then the other guy's like sweating with the keyboard, like.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like to just do a little more damage, I guess, or make the rotation a little less complicated if possible.
Yeah, I think if you have good AoE damage, I think if your boss damage is subpar, it shouldn't be like a super complicated rotation on boss damage, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's hard to say that you should have really good AoE damage and really good single target boss damage, because that just makes,
I like having the distinction.
like, rogues single target boss damage irrelevant, right? Because they don't do AoE damage. So there is like a band to say, like, you shouldn't be able to do both really well. But I think if you can do one really well, maybe the other isn't as hard and you don't do it as well, right?
Yeah, but people make the argument that, then they're not, because so many people just judge on bosses, instead of judging the entire raid as a whole. The people that really know what they're doing judge the entire raid as a whole. Like, that's all they look at. But the people that really don't know what they're doing, like me, a lot of the time throughout Classic, just cared about bosses. And it's kind of the wrong mindset if you want to have variety in classes, and some people do some things well and some people don't. So, like, if you just have a class,
you're parsing against your same class, though. Like, that's my argument, right? Like,
but parsing, but people look at the damage meters and they see, just like you saw when we were leveling in BRD, you saw the big old blue bar and you saw these itty bitty yellow bars.
It was just so obvious. It was just like such a discrepancy.
And that's obvious in a raid too. But people don't think about the fact that they're getting through trash faster. Like the layman,
that's fair.
Average player.
I wouldn't even say the layman. I would say 85% of people.
Yeah, a lot of people, they're just like, what's the top DPS? Okay, I got to do that. Okay, what is this guy doing? He's snapshotting his corruptions. Okay, well, I have to do that or else I'm bad at the game. All right, let me do that in my pug raid where we're wiping on every single boss. Let me buy all the consumes. And they're like thinking that it's a massive deal and stuff like that.
Okay, real quick,
like, consumes are so expensive.
I missed this question on our Hunter Talk, and I know it's out of place, guys. Sorry about this, but I really wanted to ask him. You were on Countdown to Classic talking about Hunter rotations, and Josh kept talking about Mongoose Bite. And I think maybe it's because he hadn't raided a ton, But I was thinking about my rotation as the melee hunter in phase 3, and it was literally Raptor Strike if it's up, Flanking Strike if it's up second, and then fill in with Wing Clip to get Wind Fury procs. But I guess you wouldn't do that if you were just like fighting in the open world, like fighting mobs, because you're not gonna have a whirlwind, just by yourself out there. But I was curious, like, was I doing the right rotation or was I doing the wrong one? Because I was literally doing Raptor Strike, Flanking Strike second, and then if I had neither of those up, I would do Wing Clip, and then Raptor Strike would be up again.
No, you were doing the right one. It's just this phase they added a Cobra Slayer rune that makes it so you can use Mongoose Bite. Mongoose Bite was only usable if you dodged an attack. So if something hit you and you dodged it, you could use it. But with the Cobra Slayer, now it's like usable and part of your rotation. It can proc, but that's on the same rune as something else. I don't remember.
I was just confused. So that's why, because he wasn't talking like on that episode. Like we weren't into the new phase. Like he wasn't. Like he was talking about his regular rotation, but that would make sense if he was only leveling up in the open world. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I think he's rolling Hunter fresh for this phase.
Yeah, okay.
But let me see what it is. I believe it's...
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't doing the wrong thing the entire time. Because I was only able to get like 92 parses.
Well, it's totally different now, but that rune it probably won't see the light of day because it's on your chest rune, the same as Lone Wolf. So it's kind of like, what do you call it? It's kind of like if you have your pet out, you're doing the Mongoose Bite playstyle and your BM spec, but that seems just kind of way worse than lone wolfing and being survival and using Wyvern Sting, especially considering the changes to the marksman tree. I think that really put it in the ground because now lethal shots, efficiency, and mortal shots all work on melee attacks. And so, like, let's say I go BM, right? I go get Bestial Wrath. Whenever I subspec, well, there's a lot of really good crit and crit modifiers and mana reduction in marksman, especially the crit mod at the end with mortal shots. But I lose 20% crit from not having savage strikes in the second row of survival. And so even if I'm not running Wyvern Sting or Wyvern Strike to turn my Wyvern Sting, right, I don't care about being survival, I still miss that 20% crit. So it's like really huge. So like I don't think that spec is really going to compete. And that's what I was saying. Like they put a lot of work and resources into developing this new hunter playstyle that I don't think a single person is going to play, unless if they're like, maybe if you're solo and you have your pet out and you just want your pet to tank stuff. But you could still just do that with Wyvern Strike. So I don't really see why you would ever need to be BM. Maybe it's the PvP playstyle, but the set bonuses they seem to be in that direction of Mongoose Bite because they have what do you call it? A thing on it. I think it's like the 4-piece. I don't remember, but it procs Mongoose Bite as well. Which if you're doing the weaving playstyle, I don't think you even use those procs. So it seems really weird. But that's what he was talking about. He was talking about the new playstyle that emerged from doing that, which nobody's doing because they're doing the Chimera Shot run out instead thing. And even if you're not doing the Chimera Shot run out instead thing, you're doing the Lone Wolf Wyvern Strike thing. So it's like the third worst melee playstyle is the Mongoose Bite stuff. But they put a ton of resources into that, and they made a new rune with the Cobra Strike, or was it the Cobra Slayer? That's what it's called. But it's on the same row as Cobra Strikes. Cobra Slayer, Cobra Strikes. Yeah, they really didn't think this through.
Well, and then they also, it feels like to me, they also, with the changes they made, in any spec that you're going to be using a pet, they literally made Broken Tooth Biss.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Like,
you need to attack as fast as possible.
Yeah, the 1.0 attack speed, which we'll get bats that could do that in ZG. Wait, is it ZG?
Yeah, but still, you have to. Then you're running a bat instead of a cat, so it's less damage.
Less damage. You can get a 1.2 cat from like Swamp of Sorrows. There's a 1.2 cat there. I think the Panthers. I think, or is it? There is 1.2 cats, but Broken Tooth is broken now. It's like he's basically like he's literally broken, and I'm glad I have him.
Well, it's only for that like niche mongoose bite playstyle, which is simming the worst, and also it's mostly because Lone Wolf is just so good. But
but you still want him if you're a ranged hunter, right?
Well, if you're a ranged hunter, you're also running Lone Wolf. So I think there's no.
Oh, you think there's no pet option now?
I think the best out of the like 5 or 6 hunter playstyles, the top 4 of them are running Lone Wolf.
Oh shit! Okay, all right.
From what I've seen, and it makes sense because they buffed Lone Wolf and they made it so you don't have to take Lion on your chest, and that's what they replaced the Lion rune with. They replaced it with Cobra Slayer for the mongoose bite stuff. So it really doesn't make sense, and it could be a leveling rune, but in order to level as a melee hunter, you have to kill the Dark Riders, so that also doesn't make sense. So
I wonder if if that trinket that they put in that you could buy from the guy in Booty Bay using the currency that drops from bosses once a day. I wonder if it like buffs your pet like crazy, like gives them 3% crit, gives them 3% hit, gives them a bunch of different things. I wonder if that'll change anything. Then there's set bonuses that are going to completely change things, like the rogue set bonus, where your vanish turns into a 50% casting damage, like
magic damage.
Reduction. Like that's going to be nuts. Like there's a lot of the set bonuses. I think that's why the 0.5 set is going to be so important to so many people, is because of the set bonuses. It's not even the stats matter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, sorry to pivot back to hunters, but
can't stop talking about hunters.
All right. Here is the last voicemail, although he does have a 30-second follow-up after I'm going to play right after this one's done.
Hey there, Mel and Bob. Dutum here from Crusader Strike Alliance side on Europe. What are your thoughts on the most recent decision to make the new PvP hub for Black Eruption Event into Blackrock Mountain? I so far in this phase have absolutely fucking hated it, since we are horde dominated. Every time I enter Blackrock Mountain to even do a dungeon or whatever, I have to spend 25 minutes getting to the instance by dying every 3 seconds. Seems very obnoxious to me. I have no clue why they made a 300% increase in one of the major hubs for Season of Discovery Phase 4. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. It's been really annoying me. Thank you.
Is that why everybody's out there?
Yeah, it's a 300 during the Blackrock event, which is literally one of every 2 hours. They do this, but here's his follow-up 5 minutes later.
Oh, hi, Dutum again. Just to emphasize on it, trying to get in as someone that has a bubble, it's a lot easier. But if I don't have my bubble up, I will just get stunned. Then I will get dragged back by 3 warriors, and I have to reset. Then I have a rest timer of 2 minutes. Now it's 5 minutes. This is just wonderful. So sorry. I'm a little bit salty. Have a nice day.
He's having a hard time.
All right. So I'm going to say it. I said it on this podcast when this was the announcement was first made, and I love the devs. I think they're doing a really good job in a lot of ways. But guys, can you just run shit by me, please? Like, If it's PvP related, just run it by me first. This was the stupidest thing, and I called it at as soon as I heard about it. This is already a hotspot for PvP. And this is one of the longest ways to get into a fucking dungeon, man. Like, are you gonna a phase later make it the same thing and try to get into to Dire Ball? This is fucking absurd. You should have never ever done this, and it is so fucking stupid.
To be fair,
yeah, that's where I'm at. You guys, have you not been watching the servers? I don't know what other servers are like, but Crusader Strike US bottom feeding alliance have sat at the entrance of every new raid that we've had, every single one, and they're literally out there all the time. They're not going into the dungeon. They're literally just there for honor. Why did you do this? I dropped the mic.
To be fair, they did help us by not making us res at Thorium Point.
Oh, yeah, the new graveyard. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a new graveyard. So my death run is shorter. I just often now realize the res timer.
Yeah, I think people would be less salty if the PvP event made the res timer go away, because then who cares? You just die again, and you're just going through the motions, you're making a little bit of progress.
Go forward a little bit. But I did like how he brought up the warriors hooking him.
Yeah. Because that is a little absurd. If you just want to grief one individual guy, you and your warrior buddies can just pull him back endlessly and you pretty much put him wherever you want him in all of Azeroth. That's kind of
so your progress is fucked, right? Like that's the whole thing is death running is annoying but fine as long as you're making a little bit of progress towards your goal. But if you keep getting pulled back, oh my god, I would lose my shit.
Yeah, I don't really. It feels kind of lazy from a PvP event. Hey, you get increased honor here. There's no objectives. There's no event. It's just world PvP, but increased honor. It is kind of
a long tunnel for people to trade off kills. It's literally phase 2 happened, guys, and on every server, one faction was in charge, and for us to go do DM's jump runs, it would take Mel and I 45 minutes. A closer reser would have been great for us at that point, but still we were passed on. A 5-person group I'm talking about phase 2, 2019 phase 2. A 5-person group would kill us 2 or 3 times, then they'd pass us off to the next 5-person group just 30 yards in front of us. We get killed 2 or 3 times by them, and then they'd pass us to the next one. And it was have you not been, this is Game of Thrones, have you not been paying attention? Do you think this has a happy ending? I don't get it. I called it, and I
don't get the event, to be honest. I think
the event outside is kind of cool. But why did they make all the PvP 3 times the honor inside?
I don't even know what the event is. Can you explain to me the event?
It's okay. So the event is outside right now in Searing Gorge. It's supposed to move to Burning Steps at some point, but it's every hour. So
every other hour.
It's 1 hour on, 1 hour off, 1 hour on, 1 hour off, and that's the way it works. And you do a bunch of dailies, and they're pretty good dailies, and they give you a different currency that gives you other stuff besides the boss currency that drops, which is so much.
Are they PvE dailies?
Yes, and so you get no honor outside of the actual mountain in Searing Gorge during this event, but in the mountain you get 3 times the honor for any kill. So it's literally making everybody make it an impossible thing to do. And we could bring a huge crowds in, but then it's it's literally like
this makes it toxic for everybody, whether you're with a group or not, because there's so many of them that like it's so frustrating. I feel like Blizzard, you could have found an area.
I guess that they want interaction and to make it feel vast, but all that really ends up happening is it doesn't feel fast. It just
was going to be people at the entrance of the dungeon, no matter if you made it 3 times XP or not.
Exactly.
There's a trillion people at the entrance of the dungeon because you made it 3 times XP.
And when we were leveling, we came out and it was alliance controlled on our it was horde controlled on the outside, and we're trying to talk our like leveling group into going back inside, but they're like, dude, this honor's crazy. I can't, we should like stay out here and do this like now. Just, oh my god.
Did you guys experience that?
Yeah, we killed some straggling alliance that got in, and then one time we zoned out a BRD and it was all alliance, like they had taken over, and then we got killed. But yeah, I mean, it's not like we're sitting out there all day. We're not losers, you know,
degenerates.
Yeah, exactly. But
Peach,
yeah, I think
go
ahead.
So, well, I was just gonna say, Peach, like you're new to the game. PvE is one thing, but the majority of people in the know do agree that PvP is a whole different beast, because you have until AI catches up, you have, literally another person that can make choices that you don't expect. How have you felt about PvP on this PvP realm? We haven't even asked you about that.
I love PvP. What exactly are you asking me?
About the Blackrock event, like the PvP in Blackrock Mountain.
Yeah, I love it. I love doing PvP. I think it's cool, but I mean, I haven't seen it really like the other way, where it's like Alliance is controlling everything. So.
Oh, you've only seen that sometimes.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. It's definitely fun. I just think that what we're kind of talking about is like, did they put it in the wrong spot? I mean, it's a long run to get into BRD. There's a lot to do. Why did it have to be here? Is like basically where we're at. Because there already would have been PvP, period. But now you're incentivized to just sit there and degen and just make people run back, and once you get that first time that it's taking you, and you're running with Kippzo, so he's probably doing things that help you get in faster, like plans, like doing CC, but like the majority of groups are going in there like, I can't get inside, and then the warriors are pulling them back, and then they're having res timers, and then they're literally just stopped from playing at all because they can't get into the dungeon.
Well, we've definitely had like people in our pug groups who are just like spam dying, and they're just like complaining about it, and they're like, I don't even want to play the game, or blah blah blah, and we're just like, well, we're trying to run BRD. Are you going to forget about it and just do the BRD, or like, do you want us? What do you expect here? But I think part of the reason people find it so frustrating is because it doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the event. Like, it's just like the event's going on in Searing Gorge, and then there's 300% increased honor in BRD. It would make sense if like you like looted the bodies for tokens and then you turn them in for Hydraxian rep or something, but you're just killing people for honor. It feels like you're just doing it just to be a dick, not really like as the event.
A gross honor grind.
When you die in the STV event, you're not like shitty. Mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you die in AB, you don't feel mad because that's what you're supposed to do there. But like, you're never like, okay, I'm trying to run BRD. Oh, the event's on. I'm gonna die. Whoever kills me is still an asshole. Like, you don't forgive them at all because they don't have to kill you. It's just honor. It's not like part of the event. Like, oh, it's so good to do it for part of the. Like, this guy's just grinding his bis. As part of the event. He's just killing me because it's the event. Nobody ever thinks that. They just think, oh, I'm dying in Blackrock Mountain because it's just the same thing. I don't know. I think they should have made it part of the event instead of just increased honor. It seems so lazy and weird.
Yeah, and people are going to be using it forever now because of that.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, it's going to be the best honor per hour. It's going to be like, all right, never mind BGs, which is going to make our BG queues longer. Like, why?
Yeah, and then you use the other events to farm the rep. I guess, I mean, AV came out this phase. You can't get AV event or AV rep from the event. You have to farm AV. So like, if I want Warsong rep, I farm the Ashenvale event. If I want AB rep, I farm the STV event to turn in the lumber. If I want
weird.
AV rep,
I farm
just do AV.
See, I farm AB just because I like AB. So,
yeah, but there's still alternatives. But like for this one, there's just no alternative. I don't know why they didn't. It seemed like a pattern.
Oh yeah, true.
Obvious,
yeah, like you're not getting Altric Valley rep. Oh, true. Very true.
Yeah, there's nothing, but it's also a PvP event, but you don't get any, there's no option to get any rep or anything. I don't know, it's just weird to me at least.
Have you played Altric Valley at all? Do they have it sectioned off? Because sometimes they've changed it to where, like, is it a 51 through 59 bracket and then 60s in their own bracket? Because that's not how it is in vanilla, but like they changed it at some point for something. I can't remember whether it was.
Oh, no. 60 isn't its own bracket because I think we did one because I queued for it and then she accepted it and then I was AFK and then I queued specific for it just to get into that specific one. And I think there were level 60s in there. But people know AV so well, they summon druids and shamans immediately, and then Horde killed the druids, and then we ended the game with Loch Halar, which is kind of crazy because, that would happen after like 10 hours in like regular vanilla.
Yeah.
You got to kill so much to get enough charms to turn in to summon to start those events. But we did it like literally like 20 minutes into the battleground. We're summoning shamans, like, so that was kind of nuts. I don't know if that's like, I don't know if they changed it at all. I don't think they did. I think people just know the system now. But yeah, I guess Peach was like amazed that, to get the good items in your pre-raid bis, because pretty much everybody has like a little bit of pre-raid bis here and there. Like for rogues, instead of Fell Striker, you can get a lobotomizer, and stuff like that. And like she can get the fire damage offhand. She was like, there's no way, like, how do you farm all the way to Exalted? And I'm like, you just do this for like a week straight. You just spam this over and over. You just do AV and that's it. And they didn't make it any easier with the Blackrock event. So yeah, but they made like, they added new stuff to Hydroxy and Waterlords. And like, at least it's not the same way of farming it as before. That would have been really awful if you're just in Silithus farming those mobs. So It's cool that the event does that, but still, I don't get why there's no AV rep. I feel like they might even change it later. Like they might add it in because it's so obvious to me, at least.
Yeah. I just wish you would have done this in different areas where, but they want people to be involved, but they picked the most involved area you could have picked. And that already was going to be a hot spot. So I think it was, I would love to, one of them to explain to me why they thought that was a good idea.
I think a lot of people are going to quit over it. I saw a Reddit post about a guy who transferred to PvE servers just because of that. And he was like, it was the greatest choice ever, blah, 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 something like that. But yeah,
I mean, just like STV, right? Like STV was already a hot zone for PvP.
Yeah, but you don't have to go to STV. You can level somewhere else.
Yep. Yeah. But you have to go to BRD. You have to go to.
Yeah, and when people
just BRD when you're leveling, like BRD is like you have to go there for.
I mean, if
Ubers,
I'm going to be a rogue and I want my bis, if I'm going to use, non-daggers, then I need iron foe, period. And that only drops in BRD. And I need Hodge,
but I'm just
period.
saying,
every melee needs Hodge. So
isn't the mountain inclusive of BRD, Ubers, Elbers?
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yes,
and you have to do that stuff
so
to get
no
the
matter, like, right now it's the leveling people that they're fucking.
and BWL and
So like our entire phase 1 is going to be just fucked with PvP
Phase 4, yeah.
corpse runs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of. And I mean, you have to
Wonderful.
do those dungeons for not just gear, but also to get Ani attuned. So, you know, like Horde started by the Test of
And then
Skulls, and
Molten
then
Core,
Alliance
though.
have the Windsor. Yeah. And Molten Core and BWL are literally there. So, yeah, it seems weird, but like, I mean, there's less going on in STV, but whenever I'm leveling an STV and somebody kills me whenever the event's happening, I'm like, oh, that guy was just getting blood for, I bet he wants a really good item.
Well,
But whenever somebody kills me in Blackrock Mountain, I'm like, this asshole killed me to make his number bigger. He just wants honor, He doesn't get a piece of gear out of this.
On top of it, STV, they fucked up with that too. Like the fact that you get more honor being close to the boss just made it a clusterfuck. Like, they should have done something where they like you don't turn in coins until the end, and there's a total amount you can get, and then once you get to like the top coins, you should have been like piecing out, trying to hide, and waiting for the event to be over, clearing it out for other people, yada yada. But like the fact that you could go and turn in during made it silly, and then the fact that you had to be close to the boss made it silly. Like there was enough people in that zone to have it spread out across the entire zone, and it could have been a really cool thing. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's another difference with it. Like if I'm like doing the pirate ship quest and I'm going and killing all the pirates and the event starts and somebody from my own faction comes by and kills me, that's kind of weird, and I don't really care because he shouldn't be doing that, because if he's doing the event, he should be by the boss, and the boss doesn't spawn over there. But in Blackrock Mountain, as long as you're in Blackrock Mountain, it's the blanket honor.
I get you.
So no matter what you're doing in Blackrock Mountain and somebody kills you, they're still doing the event, I guess.
Yeah, well, as far as the Blackrock Mountain part and the honor, I don't agree with it. I think the event's kind of neat outside of Blackrock Mountain, but that's where I'm at. Anybody else on final thoughts on it? Nope. All right. We're just gonna bust through the news, let people know the little changes, but there probably won't be much to talk about it. Time for the news. All right, so there's so much news. There's no way we're gonna cover all the class changes. There's other places to talk about that, and they'll probably change it tomorrow, so there's no reason to talk about it at this point. We can talk about it later. But first thing up, if you have any of the cosmetic trinkets, the world warper, the one that turns you into a slug, the one that turns you into a bush, the one that turns you into a box, like all these cool trinkets, those can all go in your key ring now. You just have to put them in there. It doesn't auto move them. I don't know if you like grab it from your bank, if it'll auto put it in your key ring. I don't know about that, but yeah, it's just something I thought people should know. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that they did that.
Yeah.
Instead of adding like the toy tab, like the Cataclysm toy tab thing, like they did in Wrath, they just made it so it goes in your keyring. That makes sense.
I didn't even think about the toy. Yeah, I like that way more too. And it's funny because Table Slam, I remember we were all rolling on one of them, and I was like, Table, you're not going to roll? And he's like, no, I'm not going to, that's a debuff to my bags. I'm not going to roll on that, and you should be able to just have kind of fun with those things because they are kind of fun.
And not worry about them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then so mounts now. So if you have the mounts from STV, the lion or the raptor, or you have the Mechanostrider from Nomergan, you have a route to upgrade those to epic mount. This is something I wish I would have known way back, because I would have actually farmed it, but I didn't want to farm it because I didn't know. So maybe I'll farm it now.
Do you have to buy the training for it? Because usually you buy like wolf training, but like what what kind of training would you buy for like Mechanostriders? Do you just buy epic mount training and then it works for all of them, I guess?
I don't know. You don't have to buy the.
So.
No, you don't have to buy the training in class. You buy the first training and then it's just mounts. Because remember, or wait.
Oh, really?
Well, hold on. I could be wrong. I just remember I had somebody buy me a cat mount. And then I was able to equip it when TBC started. But I think you just have to buy the cat mount if you get exalted. I don't know. Everybody can correct us in the comments, or if anybody's in chat right now, they can tell us. But either way, it's basically the same price to upgrade these guys as if it would be to just get a mount, from what I understand. So I don't know if it's like it's actually
not cheaper, I guess.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I don't think it's like something you should strive for to make it cheaper. Yeah, because it's 800 gold, which is the same price as a epic mount. If you have rank 3 in PvP and I think honored in your major city.
Yeah, in the reputation for the race that you are.
Yeah.
Or the race for the mount that you're buying. But I guess you can only buy other races if you're exalted, so you would have honored. So,
which is weird because like the Ultric Valley mount is like 650 because it was always cheaper, but nobody got it back in the day as their mount back in 2019 because it came out so much later than everything else. Like there was a ton of locks and paladins that didn't even have their epic mount because buying the epic mount was cheaper than trying to figure out a way to do their class quest. And their class quest wasn't even in. So you didn't even have that option at the start.
Yeah, because Dire Maul wasn't in.
Yeah, so... But at least it gives them an option, and if I would have known this, I would have had a Panther or a Golden Saber Cat on both tunes, but now
same.
We'll see.
I did so many Noma runs where I could have HR'd the mount and I didn't. And I mean, it didn't drop. I saw it drop twice, but I never got it. But
were you the one that Kef won it off of me?
Yeah, I think so. And then I saw it like towards the end of the phase.
See, if I would have been a normal raid leader, I would have just taken it.
Or no, it wasn't that one. It was we had a mage who you wanted him to come, and he didn't need anything, and then you said like you can have the mount if it drops, and then it did drop.
Yeah, I was like, well, you could read.
I don't remember that guy's name.
See, why am I so nice to like tell these people this type of shit, right? Like, I'm just a fair dude. And then when Kef won it, I was just like, God, if I was just one of those dickhead raid leaders, I would have just been like, oh, it's mine. This is my raid.
Yeah, I don't mind that stuff at all because I saw that guy in Ogremar, that mage. I don't remember his name. I wish I could remember, but I saw him on the mount, and I was like, "Oh, he's still using it. Like that's nice." I hate it when people like get something like that and then they quit like 2 weeks later, and you're just like, "Okay, man."
Definitely. Well, I'm happy for everybody that they get to upgrade that, and then what's the last thing? So. We got a weird patch that kind of screwed up Classic Era too. All of a sudden,
yeah, the drama.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, our guild tab was gone, and we had the new guild interface from Cataclysm or wherever, and that also pushed over to Classic Era, along with the Songflower Serenade and Dire Maul tribute buffs no longer being able to be dispelled. And I know there's at least 5 or 10 complete assholes like Tiny Violin that are just upset with this change, because now they can't just wait and res and dispel and ruin people's days. Oh, the poor guys. But I think really what most people are upset about is the guild interface changing, and it was weird to me. I thought I got kicked from my guild when I logged in.
Well, there's also the Might of Stormwind thing, and druids can train polearms, which those just don't make any sense at all and have no place in Classic. And it's disgusting that Blizzard even thought about doing this, let alone just threw it in. I think it's kind of clear that they're just going to keep doing little changes here and there. Then they're going to develop some kind of new like Xbox integration or I don't know, whatever thing that they spend money on in retail. And then it's going to go over to like Cataclysm and people aren't going to say anything. And then they're going to tiptoe it into SOD, and then it's going to go into
like they've
Classic.
tiptoed everything into Classic.
Yeah. And at some point, there's going to be a breaking point. We're just going to go back to private servers, and I can't wait because private servers are awesome, and the Classic client has always been so bad compared to like just the regular vanilla client. Like I wish that they had given us just a realm list to connect to instead of making us like, isn't this like the Shadowlands client baseline? But they had to do it for BattleNet integration, so it.
We're now on Dragonflight.
But...
We're now on Dragonflight. And I think it's actually ran better since they've been on that. I think the reason Classic was so broken is because we didn't start on the new client. I think a lot of devs talked about that, how they built it from scratch. And maybe they should have built it on top of the client and just used the old data to build Classic. Because in TBC, they pivoted and was like, okay, that's why we were down for so long on the TBC launch and everything was broken and the mail was broken, is because they were like, all right, we're going to try and bring it up. But since then, we are now on the Dragonflight client. And I think it does run better. We see incursions with 1 billion people in there and we're not lagging. But I think the problem with Classic in the beginning was they were trying to run on like an old rickety thing.
Well, and I think, sorry, my headphones
go ahead.
Died in between there. So I don't know if you guys already talked about this, but Kazakrok in chat had asked earlier about any insight on the changes Blizzard made to the era servers and wondering if there was some corporate greed going on there. And I think honestly, like, it's more about efficiency than it is about greed and profit. I think it's more about like, we can uphold these servers and these servers run better than these that are running this.
And they can make changes on the fly faster.
Yeah, I'm
they
not
can
an
definitely
IT person,
do it faster.
But I don't know exactly like what they can change in one and not change in another, right? So that's, I guess, where I get a little bit weary. But I don't think that this was a like Microsoft greed play. Honestly, like I think it was a let's get everybody on a client that's running really well, and then let's problem solve from there.
Well,
like,
it's okay. So you are right. Okay, so I don't know how to phrase this, but basically the WoW Classic dev team, as far as I understand it, does not have a lot of coders, not a ton, whereas the retail team does, and they understand the retail client. So they can make changes a lot easier because of the knowledge they have for that in Classic. And like they are asked and tasked to make different changes. And so I think that's why it works out better. Whereas with it the way it was before, the Classic team was on their own, period. And you ask a retail coder, hey, can you change this? And they're like, well, I don't know. I'll give it a try. But it's and it was extremely foobar coding. Like, I don't know, anybody who's coded can know, like, after you've debugged, like after you've done a lot of coding, you keep just adding in more bullshit that doesn't make sense to anybody coming in and looking at your work afterwards. Like when I started a new IT job, I didn't code, but I did network and system engineering. And I'd have to be in a job for like 6 months before I'd truly understand how to make change to the current systems, because I'd have to understand what my predecessor did prior to me. And that takes some time, because you can do it a lot of different ways. It's not just like there's directions. Like everybody seems to think that there's directions on how to do this. No, you learn about it, then you build your own system, or you learn how somebody else built a system and you can work with that. But it's extremely complicated.
Yeah, and putting like adding code to an existing code base that you don't really understand, it's obviously, difficult and a recipe for disaster. But I just disagree with the whole premise that we even need BattleNet integration or that we have to be on a modern client. I mean, Nostalrius ran totally fine. Of course, they had way lower numbers, but you could always cap the servers at a certain point. They could have just hired the Nostalrius devs who knew the Classic client. I don't know. I think a lot of stuff in Classic is just not Classic. Like even 2019 Classic that people are okay settling for has layers in it, which is gross.
But do you think
it pulls me out of the game?
There is zero way to be classic at this point, right? Like,
well, yeah, everybody.
No, you can do it real easy. Like people are doing it right now on private servers.
Yeah, but she's talking about like you have to change the mindsets of people. You have to change like the education of people. You have to change so many things.
Classic, like interface, but you're not going to have the classic feel ever again.
Yeah, but I mean, and nobody should expect that. Like we're all way more educated on the game. Classic feel is very different.
Seriously that annoyed that we have to push J instead of like O for our
I'm
guild?
pretty annoyed.
Well, I think it's little changes like that. Like I think the big thing that people are mad about is the Might of Stormwind thing, because now there's really no reason to play Horde. Alliance were already like pretty much better. It was just really annoying to get War Chief's Blessing.
Wait, what is this? I don't know about this.
Alliance get War Chief's Blessing now.
Okay, so Mel, that's just something in SOD, which like is probably cool for SOD, right? But Classic Era, the reason people are mad is because that was supposed to be a museum with no changes, and they started doing some changes to it with like reworking how the honor grind went, how the rank 14 grind went, and people didn't bitch about that. They were like, yeah, that was probably pretty toxic, and okay. But now they're changing
but
the
you can't
way
pick and choose what you bitch about.
You can.
Like, if you want it to be a museum, then it's a museum.
Yeah,
if you want it to be updated, then you have to live with the updates.
Then you're right. People should have bitched and thrown a fit about that in the beginning, because now the slippery slope has sloped, and now Songflower and Dire Maul buffs can no longer be purged. Druids can use polearms. Alliance gain a new buff that never was there. There's a new guild. Like some of these people that play private servers might have never even seen the new Kata guild interface, and then they're just logged in and it's there. Like they're breaking their promise that they made for Classic Era servers, and I get that. Even if I like the changes,
I disagree that they're breaking their promise. I disagree that they're breaking their promise, because I
love the change.
Their promise was your character will be unchanged.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was their promise. Your character will be unchanged, and they will live in the world. Now,
well, the Druids aren't unchanged because they can use polearms now, though. Yeah. Right. So
okay, then that's fair. Like, that's a fair argument.
Like, and I'm telling you, I think Songflower and Dire Maul tribute buffs, I think this is a great change. I think it's disgusting the people that like push them off, but I don't think it's okay to change era. I just don't.
Yeah, but
like they're breaking their contract with us.
Bitching. Nobody in era is bitching about the Songflower and the Dire Maul buff not being able to do
I don't know if they are or not. Well, I'm not going to put words into people's mouths. That's what you're
signing
doing.
The petition about the changes that includes those. There's literally a change.org petition.
Yeah, it's. I guess Salve Dali literally was so mad at these changes that he compared Blizzard to Nazi Germany.
which was a little
Well, I mean,
bit of an
it is
escalation there.
like little changes here and there. They're waving it in, and then here pretty soon we're going to be looking completely different. I agree with that kind of analogy of like the Nazis did do that. They came for like they implemented the plan very slowly. But I mean, obviously, I'm not going to compare
There's
a major political event
another
with.
scale here.
Yeah. This is a video game, but
I mean, we
mean,
love it, but
I
we're
personally
there.
just think it's a result of us having to keep up with this updated client that's just going to cause more and more problems over time. And I mean, I've never been okay with the modern client with classic WoW because I've played on the old client and it's just way better. Like people that play Nostalrius, there's a reason why everybody loves it, and it's sad that it had to go. If it was live right now, I think it'd be more popular than Era. It'd probably be more popular than Sod, maybe even Cataclysm, because it was just really good. Like you could turn on Peyo's stream or Sal Dali's stream, and he's like about to raid, and he's gonna run into Blackrock Mountain, and you could sit in stealth and you could try and gank him because there's no layers. You would know where he is, and you would go there. You'd be like, oh, there's people fighting over Devil Swords. Let me go. Oh, there's a world boss. There's the world boss. There's not 15 different ones. There's no instance. There's no dungeon. There's Azurgos is up. It's the Azurgos. You don't kill him once, and then you layer, and then you kill him again, and then you layer, and then you kill him again, and then, oh, my Fang of the Mystics didn't drop. Let me kill him 7 more times.
See,
okay, I got it,
I like the layers just because I actually have on my stream where it shows my layer, I have it blocked off. And like once I blocked it off, people found me and harassed me way less. And now I like change layers, and I really do like that. But I do understand where you're coming from, that it kind of takes you out. And if you're a streamer, you should just learn to deal with that. But like, I mean,
Well,
some of the
if you're
streamers
like,
couldn't
maybe-
even like. I
if you're
had
somebody
just
like
a little
Peo,
bit.
Peyo's whole thing is he wants people to come and challenge him. He duels for money all day on stream.
Yeah.
So like it really hurts the entertainment value that like whenever you're ganking somebody, it's usually just some random person who's on your layer who just happens to be there, not somebody who knew that you were going to be there or somebody who has been playing on the server. Like, I don't know, there's a big sense of community. Like whenever Sod had one layer all of phase 3, because I've been leveling characters the past few months. Me and Peach were talking about this, how like you run into the same people over and over again. You do domers with them. You find somebody like, hey, this Boomkin has the same name as this Ellie Shaman who I invited to this Nomer. This is probably his alt. And, there's just like this sense of community. And then now there's 11 layers. I never recognize the same person. I never, like, you do one dungeon and then they're gone forever. It's like the group finder. So it's just kind of, it's so retail-y.
There's so pros and cons to it though, because I do agree that I think that it was nice having like a community when there were smaller servers, right? At the same time, it was so crappy when you connected with somebody who wasn't on your server, and then your choice was either to one of you transfer and build up a character on that server or just not play together, right? So I think that like we've been able to meet so many people on this server that we're able to do different content with, not necessarily out in the open world, but just in general, right? And like, I know Peach transferred servers and worked up a new character, but think if like every time you met somebody like that wasn't on your server, you had to transfer, and that would happen so much more frequently.
Well, I mean, I love leveling characters, so I'm kind of biased on this, but that is how it worked back in the day. And I mean, you could always have $15 character transfers. I mean, it's in the client. I don't know why it doesn't work on Sod, but it works on Era, which that was never in Vanilla WoW, I don't think. But that's still a solution. You could just pay $15. It would suck if you had 10 characters to transfer, so that way you play with your friend, but... Yeah, I don't know. I'm just so against layering, man. I feel like I'm the only person who still like cares, but like literally me and Peach were like 2 days ago, we were trying to go and do the Crimson Tempest quest together, or Rune, and we like couldn't layer on the same layer. It took us like an hour and a half to get on the same layer whenever we're in a party with each other.
I agree with that.
This modern client just like, please get rid of it, man. They're not going to because it's Microsoft and they have to, but like it's an abomination, man. Like if this was a private server, it'd be so much better. I'm just saying.
That is
And I'm going to say
rough, but
something
at the
very
same
controversial.
time, oh, okay. Wait for your
Got a hot
controversial.
take.
That is very rough. But I'll tell you, me and Crispix were trying to do. Is the Crimson one the one that's in Eastern Plague Lands where you have to?
No, that's Blunderbuss.
Okay, so we were doing Blunderbuss. We were trying to get the sigil, and there was this dickhead rogue. You know who you are, QQ. Literally, it's just QQ. Yeah, he was a 60 rogue, just beating up on level 54 rogues, making it so like he wasn't there for his rune. He didn't open the chest. Like he would have made sense if he was killing us so he could get the chest, but he just wanted to stop our fun. Like, and it was nice to be able to lair away from him. But if the lair away from him wasn't there, I would have taken extra steps to get a posse to come help me. But
yeah, because if you call a posse and then they're on a different layer, then like they just can't do anything.
Yeah, but like we were able to change layers. If there wasn't layers, I would have called a posse. Is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
like maybe you're saying that that's better, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the game is like this guy's ganking my ult so much. I'm gonna log on my main and I'm gonna go kill him and I'm gonna farm him for 2 hours and then I'm gonna follow him and then I'm gonna see him again and I'm gonna kill him and yeah, like anytime that somebody but like if it's just layers and you just layer away, like all right, let me download a new version of the game. Let me just play retail instead. Let me just zone in on this instance or whatever. It's all super lame, you know? Like I love it whenever like somebody is somewhere in the world and you can go there and see them, but like there's so many layers, especially like 15 or whatever we have. Like come on, man. And there's nobody. I get that it makes like some
I
quests
feel like there's only like 2 layers right now.
We got up to 10. Today there were 4, but also you have to remember that they have the layer things. So like sometimes you can think you're trying to change layers, but you don't understand that layer 2 and 4 have already combined. So even though you're on the different layer, you're still on the same layer. It's been a hard learning curve for that stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any value in adding a learning curve to being able to see your friend who's right next to you. I don't really get. I don't know. We could do a whole podcast on why I hate layers, but
I believe you.
We could.
But it's just so like come on, man. Like I don't know.
I will take the devil's advocate, like perch here and just say, and I don't even know if I want to say this, but like you hate what they're doing to Classic Era. You hate what they're doing to things like that. The only way, and I tell my employees this, the only way that we can justify not doing that is if there's a loss in revenue. And if lots of people quit because they changed the fucking layer or they changed the UI in Classic Era, then sure, they will definitely consider an alternate route. But if nobody does, or if there is very little revenue influx change, then they're not going to do anything. Like, and yes, they love you as players. The developers do not make those decisions, right?
Yeah.
Like, they love you. They want to make you happy. They want to do everything they can for you, but they're not the ones making those decisions. And so if they're going to make that decision, it has to be because there's a big loss in revenue. And there's not. People keep playing, but people keep playing and they keep bitching. But guess what? They're still playing.
Here, well, I'm going to throw this out here because we do need to hit the last little thing and stop. We've had a long episode so far, but I'm just going to say, Classic devs, I need you to, I know you had them take it down, but there's still ways to find it. Guys, you really need to be able to do as much as Turtle WoW has been doing. And if you can't give us that amazing look from Unreal 5 engine, when 3 guys in their basement can do it, I really am getting a little upset with you guys.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Have you seen this, Mel? You don't even know what I'm talking about.
I'm just saying it's not fair. It's not fair to compare what they're able to do with 3 people in a like isolated environment for one.
You don't even know what I'm talking about. So how can,
well, the WoW devs
are
are also 3 people in a room, so there kind of is a comparison. But I mean, they're not even trying to upgrade the graphics. But...
No, yeah, I don't.
But do we want them to upgrade the graphics? Like,
okay,
I mean,
hold on.
we're
Has
so
anybody
purists here. We don't want them to update anything.
We don't want them to upgrade the retail graphics, which are like cartoony, weird, like. Everybody
we
runs
want them to do updates, just not the updates we don't want them to do. And
well, I think Mel has a point. I think Turtle WoW is like trying to appeal to. They're doing all the Classic Plus stuff, but we really just need a solid private server. We need the opposite direction. But the problem is that's not like sexy. It doesn't like sell. Turtle WoW is trying to be better than SOD. And I don't think it's going to. As long as SOD is playable, I don't think people are really going to download the client.
Have you seen what I'm talking about? The graphic change?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, of course.
That is absolutely awesome. Like, it didn't change it to... Oh, and Turtle WoW has done what I have asked classic devs to do from the start. If transmog is in, client toggleable. Toggle. Let us play the game that we want to play. Do not just make a change and be like, oh, this is the new thing. Like, and Turtle WoW has done this, and I'm not going to play it because I don't play private servers. But either way, they took the existing graphics and just did a sky rim. Like, they just increased resolution. They increased textures. Like, that's what they did. And it looks amazing, but it still looks like WoW. And like, that's what's cool for me. And the fact that they've been able to do that, it's absurd to me that Blizzard hasn't been able to do that. And I've been shitting on Blizzard today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's bullshit. They've been able to do that and you love it. And guess what? There's 1,000 other people that hate it. And there's 1,000 other people that want something different than you. And I'm just saying, like, you talk to one classic player and they know what they want. And their opinion is not shared by 95% of the other classic players. And I just think that it's unfair to say that this niche Turtle WoW can fucking...
Hold on. Let's invite the listeners to write into us. Let's invite the YouTube people to comment below. Tell us what you thought about those, because I watched 7 or so creators react to the video. I wish I could get into reacting stuff, but I just feel like it's gross, so I don't do it. But like, they reacted to it. Not one of them was like, oh no. Every single one was like, what's the classic WoW people doing if they can do this? Like, what is going on?
Have any of those people asked Blizzard to make those changes though?
Well, Blizzard should. Okay, so North the Mage said this great on Countdown to Classic just a few weeks ago. A good dev is giving you what you want before you know you want it. Like, and that's literally
exceeding expectations, not just like meeting them. But
that's literally what SOD did for me. I didn't know that I wanted SOD. Like, and I found out, oh, I do. You know, like, that was awesome. That was a win for them. But sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think all those creators, none of them are actually playing Turtle WoW, though. And I mean, even if I wasn't making YouTube videos, I mean, I tell myself, like, well, you know, much lower population. If I just made Turtle WoW videos, it'd be worse for the channel, right? But I probably still wouldn't play just because other people don't really care. And the experience can't be that good if it's this niche thing. But
well, those creators do say, I mean, almost all of them say it in their video. Well, I can't stream this, so I'm not going to play it. But this looks amazing, exactly. You know, like.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's crazy that they can do that much. That the the classic team can do what it's doing, and the Turtle WoW team can do what it's doing, and we can't stick to really simple things. Like all the people wanted was just like a few new abilities, and then like mostly new raids and new endgame stuff to do for SOD. And all people really wanted was just a realm list to connect to. They just wanted to host the server. They didn't want a whole new client with layering and all these bells and whistles. And I think it's really easy to please the classic WoW dad gamer. He just wants to like log in, and Vanilla WoW is a really simple game. There really isn't all that much complicated to it.
I
don't think you need Unreal Engine.
It's a simple game compared to retail, but if you say it's a simple game compared to like Skyrim, I'm going to tell you you're crazy. It's an extremely complex game compared to like a lot of other games. Like it's even more complex than retail in many ways because of, for instance, weapon skill and how that works. You know, like it is an extreme, like it's an easy game to play, but not an easy game to understand. Would you agree with that?
I think it's an easy game. What do you call it? I think like it's the expectations are very low, I guess is what I'm trying to say, from the player base.
I disagree.
Okay.
Well, let him finish at least.
I will let him finish.
Yeah, let him make his point.
Yeah, like I think like whenever the Classic WoW beta came out, and I didn't get access to it, but whenever I like finally could play on Classic, or like I think it was like there was the alpha and then the beta, I don't remember, but I remember making a warlock and I did like a death coil, and I was on the what is it, the PvP server. There was one, Henhouse. I was on Henhouse, and I compared an undead male warlock shooting death coil on both of them, and it was like, dude, on Classic it's like actually shooting out of my hand, and it's like the textures are like a little bit better. I was like, this is it. Classic is kind of awesome. And all of those quests that were bugged on private servers, like all those escorts and stuff, Blizzard's finally going to fix them. And then none of that compares to how bad layering is. Like all those little tiny touches and stuff were nice, but you know, other things just ruin the game from like the client and stuff like that.
So Relix in chat makes a really good point I had not thought of. For Blizzard to license something to Unreal 5 engine would be an astronomical price compared to a private server that probably steals it and doesn't license it at all and runs it in a country where they do not have to license it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the people that run...
Huge point. That's a huge point that I didn't think of. Thank you.
The people that run Turtle WoW are still Shenna and Krog from that one server. I don't remember where they were selling rank 14 copied characters. There was all that drama, and they're in Macedonia, I think, or something, some Eastern European country. So that is almost definitely the case. That's a good point.
That's a huge point I had never thought about. Thank you, Relix.
I just always think like we get very judgmental of Blizzard, and we ask for things and expect them to do things, and they cannot please everybody. And I know that we all think that we're the only person that they should please, but we're not. And I think that the Classic era people do have a argument here on like, this is supposed to be Classic era, like nothing is changing here. Sure, they do have an argument, but they don't argue everything, right? They only start arguing when it's something that's like big.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
That they care about. They didn't argue at all about the changes to the ranking process. And so...
Right. So I do think that there's this fine balance, and we have to give Blizzard a little bit of leeway in the fact that they're balancing between era, hardcore, SOD, classic, kata, retail. Like there's so many different things that they're balancing. And sure, we want to be the priority, but I'm going to take you back to business here. And if they're not seeing a fluctuation in their sub numbers, then they're not like enticed to, put out a fire over here, right? Like
yeah, it's about the bottom line.
Maintaining.
Yeah. All right. So Okay.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
I hate that people think that that's a bad thing. Like, it's not a bad thing that they're about the bottom line. Like, they are about the bottom line, and they can do whatever they can within that bottom line.
Yeah, yeah. But I want to know what Peach thinks about everything we've talked about for the last 30 minutes. Go. She's like,
she's
fuck
still
off.
here.
Yeah, this is so
Like, fuck you, Bob.
nuanced. That, like, she's like, I don't know. Oh,
I don't
man.
have an opinion.
All right.
I don't know anything.
All right, we have done one of the longest episodes in a long time. It's crazy. We're gonna do the last bit of news that I pulled out, guys. There's a ton of news. Please go to Wowhead. There is everything you would want to read about and more. I just pulled out certain things that I thought you guys might want to know about, and you see, like, the podcast would be 12 hours long if we pulled out all of the news. But the last thing I wanted to tell everybody about is the new dungeon. It's in Ashenvale, but to get into it, you have to have a trinket. The trinket is obtainable from a quest from the same tune that you traded your wild offerings to in phase 3 to get your trinket or whatever piece of gear you wanted to get. And all it is to get 6 drops from Owl Beasts in Winter Spring. Once you do that quest, you do get the trinket. Do not delete the trinket, because if the trinket's not on, you cannot see the actual portal to get into the dungeon. So if you're an enchanter just disenchanting all of your stuff, like, be really careful. Like, make sure you put this trinket into like a different spot so you'll know not to get rid of it. But also, the drop rate is way higher on the Owl Beast on the northeast side of Winter Spring. So killing the lower level ones, you're just kind of going to waste your time a little bit. But it is also a shared drop. So if you go with a group of 5, everybody will be able to loot one of the 6 you need for the quest if
good.
it drops. Yeah. So you haven't done this yet, right?
No, I have not.
Mel and I did it last night, and then
how many bosses are there?
Oh, we didn't do the dungeon. No, we just got the trinket.
Oh, you got the attunement. Yeah, okay.
We just got the trinket. But you need to save the trinket. You don't is it like if
it doesn't go into quest items.
Yeah, it's just
which I can move it for added bags.
It shows up as a weird trinket, and you might sell it. Like, you can sell it, and you can disenchant it. So be careful, guys.
Yeah, Bob, will you remind me to put it in quest items?
Yeah, sure. But yeah, so I think that's it, guys. We had a long episode here. Holy shit.
Yeah, I got carried away.
Yeah.
All the
I don't know
hunter
what we
discussion.
talked about.
Yeah.
But
All right. Well, anybody have any closing remarks they want to make about anything we talked about?
I hope everybody's enjoying phase 4, and it's no matter what class you play, there's new cool stuff to enjoy, I guess. But it seems like a lot of people have fallen off the sod hype train, so hopefully something that unites the community again here soon.
get back on.
Yeah.
Get back on. Back on the hype train, guys.
I want people on, but I've been also watching Cata numbers drop week by week now for the last
I saw
two weeks, so I'm hoping they're coming back to sod.
I saw a Metagoblin community poll, and it was like a ton of people just weren't playing WoW as one of the options.
That was one of my polls too that I did. Wasn't as many votes though, but it seemed like a lot of people just weren't playing Classic. They were just kind of done. So I'm hoping people come back, and I'm hoping us talking about it get you guys to come back.
Well, if you don't play sod now, if if there are no SOD era servers, then you'll be hearing one of your guildies 2 years from now talking about how SOD Warlock was the best, and you're gonna be like, man, I wish I played it.
Yep.
Yeah, now's the time.
Yep. That's where I am with like Josh Corbett also. Like he talked about like I want to play Melee Hunter because I don't know that I'll ever get to do that again. Like I want to play
especially in vanilla,
because I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that again. Like that's why I'm playing like literally weird stuff. That's why I'm not playing Warrior, because we have just a regular fresh. I'll be playing Warrior and it'll be exactly the same as I played before. So I'm hoping everybody come back to us, guys. Peach, any remarks?
Nothing for me.
Well, thank you for coming on. I'm going to go ahead and start closing this out here. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. We want you to write into us. You can write into us in many different ways. WCRpodcast@gmail.com is our email. You can join our Discord by going to warcraftreloaded.com/Discord or just warcraftreloaded.com and clicking the Discord button. If you'd like to help the podcast, you can leave likes and comments and hit the bell on YouTube. We're growing there. It's great. Also, you can leave us reviews on iTunes or Spotify, although I would really appreciate it if you didn't leave a review just based on one guest on the podcast. It's a little bit weird. If you like the podcast as a whole, try and rate it as a whole, but we had one of the most recent iTunes reviews was a 3-star review, and the anger was directed specifically at one guest that's been on the show once. So stop being a dick is basically where I'm at you with that. But that's how you can help us out. And Mel, where can we find you?
Really nowhere. You can find me on Crusader Strike on Melarina with an O. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, people stole our names. All right, Kippzo, what about you?
Just Kippzo everywhere. KIPPZO. That's my YouTube and Twitch, and then I think for Twitter and Instagram, I'm Kippzo Wow, because it was taken. So just KIPPZO. Just type that into Google, and you'll find all my stuff.
All right, and Peach, where can we find you?
I'm TexasTrash on Crusader Strike Horde. That's where you'll find me.
And you can find
or on
Kippzo's stream.
Yeah, if you want to watch us play together, check out my stream. Maybe. If you're lucky enough to catch a stream.
And you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can find me on Twitch live and the show live at twitch.tv/BlazzinBob _. And we're going to get out of here, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.